way that they could have been caught probably and nearly were was against Monaghan, but it's very hard to look past them when you look at it clinically and look at it objectively. Obviously, subjectively, my father was from Cork, and again, I suppose from the underworlds, you'd love Cork to really, I think the Football Championship needs a good final, and I hope that it is a very good game, and I think it will be. I think Cork, has been coming gradually. I know that the injury worries with James Masters, who's okay but hasn't played much football since the Sligo game, and Anthony Lynch, I don't know what the exact situation is there, but they're big, strong and physical, have some fine footballers, and there's a special dynamic when it's the team from the one province. They hate each other in sporting terms, and that can bring out a whole lot of things that maybe who's to predict, but when you add it all up and put it on paper, it's hard to look past Kerry.
Seamus, you very nearly beat Kerry. How do you go about beating Kerry now if you had a second chance?
Well, the real reality here is that Kerry is now in the fourth All-Ireland final in a row. This is one of the best teams, definitely is the best team of this decade, or maybe since the last good Kerry team. Now apart from Brian McGuigan's brilliance and Peter Canavan's brilliance in 2005, Kerry will be going for 4 in a row. They're very hard to beat. We felt going into our game that it was possible they were slightly vulnerable after 6-week layoff, but I know that in my mind that I feel that Kerry's going to win this All-Ireland by somewhere between 3 and 6 points. That's what I feel. I think that...
Why is that? You're not giving Cork much chance, I mean?
Well, I'm not. I think that Cork has, if we want to say, whether it be controversial about it, they've come through an easier patch. They beat Limerick, Tipperary, Loud, Sligo, and a Meath team that basically didn't turn up on the day, and they're through to an All-Ireland final. I feel that Kerry had a very good, tough match in the Munster final against Cork. Monaghan definitely put up and had a very tight match with them, 1 point victory. They come to Dublin, again, very, very narrow victory. They're from through a hard side, and I think that people doesn't realise how good this Kerry team is. Yes, Cork has made progress, but not enough to beat Kerry in this All-Ireland final.
Yeah, I think Kerry are coming in too with a lot of tactical options, as well as probably a stronger bench, in the sense that probably Mark and Dublin in the semi-final were preparing maybe for Kieran Donaghy as a target man and kick it in all the time. And instead of that, what happened when Darragh O'Shea got injured, he was out the field, and a new threat, which had been predictable last year, and Donaghy, so it was changed around. So there's, Cork are sitting there, and I'm not sure what they're up against. Probably Cork are a little bit more predictable, although Michael Custom will be probably in and out a little bit as well.
I also think that where teams can prepare for 15 good players in the opposition. When you're playing Kerry, when you go to your own bench and start to pull players out, the Kerry players that they pull out the bench would make every team in the country. They're 18, 19, 20 player, or would make every other team in the country.
Billy Morgan is loving every minute of this, I think. It's getting no applause. Thanks very much for that. We'll be back to you later. But now we're going to turn to our Star Stakes competition. This way, what you have to do in order to get there is choose the goal of the season from this selection.
Colin McCullough, lovely little switch of the play. This is great football by Tyrone. Raymond's McGrew. And just watch it for superb goal. David Kelly, just one man in the full forward line. Here's Taylor O'Hara, surging through, Haggy trying to get back to it. O'Hara! Fantastic goal! And O'Hara is back to his very best. Here's Jason Sarah. Is low for keeping. Here's another chance. Where is Logan? Look how cool he is here, Dara. That is textbook. That is perfection.
Riley with his long, typical deliveries into the forward. It's a great ball. Beautifully over Garrity. Feeding it in. He's got it. Graham Garrity in the 45th minute. And that simply adds to
Tougher one way than the other. Didn't foul the ball. Killian Young again. Just a sand iron in there. Goal! What a fantastic goal! Brilliant score by O'Sullivan. Having a season of his life, I would say.
All right then, to enter the competition, here's what you have to do. Telephone the following number, 1515 71 71 82, or you can text GOAL followed by the appropriate number to 57111. Viewers in Northern Ireland can also text their selection to 57111, and Airtel page 193 will give you all the details of that. Graham Gertie, have you any particular favourite in amongst those?
The very young forward there from Meath, I thought his goal was very good. But Eamon O'Hara's goal I thought was excellent, and it was taken at pace as well, and a great finish.
Mark Vaughan, would you give it to a Meath man?
I've probably got him as, yeah.
Let's see how the others go. Seamus?
I thought that Graham was close to me for when he got the yellow card. He went out of the crowd. Other than that, I would give it to Raymond McGrew.
John, is your favourite?
I couldn't. Well, Eamon O'Hara, I think, the execution of it, he hadn't been going forward as much, and it was a decisive moment. It was the turning point in the Connacht final.
All right, remember, they're not the judges now, in case you're influenced by 3 votes there. We'll give you the winner on Airtel. Now then, we're going to talk about tickets for the All-Ireland final. To have them all interested here. And the other way Gay Byrne used to say, there's one for everyone in the audience. It wasn't Gay Grave. Anyway, tickets are always hard to come by, and invariably there will always
football season draws to a climax. Let us pause to pay tribute to one of the tragic heroes of Irish life, to what is sometimes claimed. The genuine supporter who can't get a ticket is not completely aloof. Like Cuchulainn or Queen Maeve, he may be a parting historical figure, but his legend has been embellished by countless epic tales, most of them told by himself. So it can be hard to know what's real from what's made up. According to one version of the story, popular in my native Ulster, the genuine supporter who can't get a ticket attended every McKenna Cup match his county played back in the cold, dark days of January and February. He was at all the league games too, and that's not even to mention his support for the local club, although with the slightest encouragement he will. He has never missed an important match there either, except once when a special under-16 B final clashed with the birth of his first baby, and he couldn't persuade the maternity hospital to reschedule. In all the versions of the story, north and south, the genuine supporter notices the surge in his counties following every summer with a wry but forgiving smile. He amuses himself for a while before games by giving tips to the newcomers on how to recognise the home team when it comes out. But his humour disappears when the championship bandwagon gets underway in earnest and he falls under the wheels. The tragedy of the genuine supporter who can't get a ticket is his lack of connections. This is not a problem in early summer unless he's a dub. But come the All-Ireland final, the distribution of tickets is transformed into a complex web in which our hero is lost. Big match tickets are an economy within the economy, but the genuine supporter finds himself shut out of the action. He has fallen through all the nets and networks, from his club's fair ticket policy to the raffle at work. In panic, he rings Joe Duffy, but not even Joe Duffy can help.
Watch out, Joe! Turn up your radio!
The genuine supporter appeared to have a lucky break this year when Cork and Kerry qualified for the All-Ireland football final, 2 counties whose fan bases traditionally travel about as well as Guinness. And yet, as sure as anything, Croke Park will be full next Sunday. And if there's one thing even surer, it is that there will be a genuine supporter who can't get a ticket to erect a permanent monument in his honour. I suggest something similar to the tomb of the unknown soldier, with an eternal flame and a plinth where the GAA president could lay a wreath on All-Ireland final day. The monument would ideally be a...
Right then, it's time to get into the nitty-gritty of Sunday's All-Ireland football final between Cork and Kerry.
Donegal O'Connor hitting this one sweetly for the opening score.
Here's a chance for Connor! Super!
Loading this one in, it's a good ball to foul. Great save by Alan Quirk. Getting inside the cover, gets inside Creevin King, does a slight deflection. It's a goal for Cork. Donegal O'Connor tries to get an angle for himself, succeeds, and that is a beautiful kick. Rory Woods preventing him from going any further. Ball is aimed at Donaghy once more. Batted down, check to the goal! Inside will come off the chain. We're queuing up, he hits it, and that is over the bar.
Brilliant take from Trevor Scanlon. Just a sand iron in there. Goal! It's all over, and Kerry have come through.
All right, we're joined by two men who've won All Irelands with Cork and Kerry. Cork defender Stephen O'Brien and Kerry forward Johnny Crowley. You're welcome, lads. You, Johnny, being a Kerry man living in Cork must be lively this week, is it?
Yeah, it's lovely. It always is. We're almost the final weekend, but this is extra special this year.
Of course, you were in Cork when you were still playing, weren't you?
I was, I spent all my time in Cork. I was in college there, and then I was working there after that, so come up around the ranks. So I was just...
And you missed last year's All Ireland final?
I did miss last year's final. I was away. I had about the middle of August. I was up in Cyprus for a year, so I was watching it.
That wasn't a holiday now, I should establish.
A very hard-working year outside at the UN, so...
Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was a great year. Myself and my family really enjoyed it. It's something different just for the year, because I suppose you never get to Australia or America when you're playing the football, so it was nice to do it.
And did you get to see any of the games out there?
Just on TV. I saw all the games. We got all the games on TV out there.
Yeah.
So I've been following the last year's championship and all through this year's outside. So it's a different view in it, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Stephen, tell me about Cork, because the public are the great citizens of the independent republic have really got behind this team. Have they? I mean, has that going to change now coming up to the final against Kerry?
Well, as you know, the hurling has probably taken centre stage for the last number of years, and the footballers have been beaten in a few semi-finals, so obviously the hurlers are number one vote, I suppose. But this year it's probably turned around, and as it's the last game of the year, I'd expect a huge Cork crowd to be up there, although it hasn't, up to today, hasn't really taken off in Cork, but there was a message on the local radio today from the Cork Chamber of Commerce encouraging all the local shop fronts and everybody to get their flags out and create some bit of a buzz for Sunday. So hopefully, I think we'll travel en masse.
The old bragging rights are so important, I know that. Yeah. But does it suit Cork that it's low-key?
Absolutely. I mean, I just remember Kildare a number of years ago. I think when a team comes up to Ireland final after a number of years, the expectation in their own county is huge. And I certainly had a few teams, especially Kildare a couple of years ago. And this Cork team will know Kerry quite well. They'll be looking forward to an Ireland final without the expectation, which I think a lot of pundits are probably forgetting about. You know, they're not expected to win, nobody's given them a chance. And you know Billy as well as I do, he loved that whole setup, the scenario, you know, so I think Cork are going to win it from them.
Yeah, well, James Masters injured, of course, John, has been injured rather, and he's back training now. He's their best player, arguably, certainly one of their key forwards, and yet they played well in his absence. Would you start him on Sunday?
I think the nature of the injury that he has, if you had a picking from a full panel, I think I'd hold off on him, like, you know, and maybe when the game loosens out 20-25 minutes, if I was a Cork manager, that's what I do. But maybe Anthony Lynch's injury has changed things for Cork now a little, like, so they're going to have to look at it. But I mean, it's going to be very tough in the first 20 minutes, like the Kerry Dublin game. There's going to be a lot of tough stuff. There could be 6 fellas out around the middle of the field, over 6 or 4, you know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of heating and things, so I wouldn't like the fellow with, you know, broken jaws, a risky injury, like, you know.
But I wonder, is it going to be fiery then? Steve, do you think it's going to be fiery?
I think it will, yeah. I think Cork and Kerry traditionally, I mean, everybody says it's very clean football games, but anybody who's played it in Johnny will know it's very hard hitting. You know, the games have always been very intense. I think as regards James Masters, I think one thing Cork might learn from during the year was what Bab's decision maybe to leave out O'Kelly earlier in the year against Wexford, and it backfired, and when they had the top scorer on the bench holding him back, expected to get over them. I think Billy might learn from that, possibly, and maybe throw James in, because he might lose out as Daniel Boolan, who was excellent against Meath. He's certainly a great option to bring off the bench. So I think he might err on the side of putting the top scorer in the country in, and if he goes well, it could be the deciding factor.
We'll stay with this. We're going to talk about it a bit more, but just briefly we're going to go back 20 years, in fact, to the 1987 Munster final between Cork and Kerry, when one county was starting on a great new adventure, and really for the other it was the end of the line.
You know, it was nearly the second coming for the team who were going to the 1987 Munster final. You know, like, obviously a lot of players had a lot of mileage on the clocks, you know. But we were always hopeful that we might put, you know, second for in a row.
We felt, certainly from 85 on, that we were an up-and-coming team. We were young enough. We knew that we were doing particularly well at under 21 level. And it was only a matter of time when those lads would step up to the senior mark, and as happened in 87.
Well, in the first game in Páirc Keys, we played very poorly.
Well, I suppose against Kerry and with the likes of Mikey and the bomber around, you can never say it's all over until the final whistle.
Good call by Coleman Corrigan.
Certainly we had played very well, and in most parts of the field we were probably on top of Kerry. And then with a minute or two to go, Mikey pops up and sticks the ball in the net.
So can you remember anything about that goal now?
Coffin comes thundering in, and you know, two of us out of the way, and you would have clear path to the goal. And you rocketed into the top corner of the net.
Top corner is right there, but you know, who deflected the ball into the net?
You said that. I never scored goals for Cork in the Munster final, but through training as I didn't happen.
Well, they better change the record books, because I threw from the angle that I came in, I can remember clearly. The only things I don't remember about it is which shin bone it hit, whether it was your right shin bone or your left shin bone.
Certainly wasn't my shin bone.
How did it go in? So many bodies there.
Then the ball held broke loosely because there was only about a minute left, but the quick thinking of John Cairns to take the quick kick out and draw the match.
I remember going into the dressing room after the game. I myself actually was captain on the day, and I was saying to myself, I'll be quite happy that we got out of jail, but he was actually disgusted that we allowed Cork to come back.
We couldn't wait until the following Sunday because we knew then that we were capable of winning.
Basically, in the replay, the Cork were better than what we were, you know. I mean, I think if you look back from a Cork point of view, they knew that they should have beaten us the first day, you know. And I think they were probably a lot younger than we were as well. They wouldn't have had the same mileage on the clock as we had, and unfortunately it was proved on the day.
Beating Kerry definitely was the turning point for that Cork team. We had proved to ourselves more than anybody that we were capable.
And as a team, we probably, you know, that there was definitely going to be some few guys who wouldn't be there the following year.
We were aware going into it that if we did win in 87, that I would certainly finish the great Kerry team. But on one particular Sunday, we knew that if we had got off to a good start, certainly they would start thinking about it.
There was fierce emotion. Like Mick O'Neill that day, you know, he closed the dressing room door and there was nobody allowed in, and definitely I think the bomber made a comment in the newspaper, you know, that it was time to take the circus off the road. It was my last championship match for Kerry that particular Sunday, because I played a couple of league games in 1988, but unfortunately I did my crusade Easter of that year, you know, so that was the man upstairs telling me time was up.
That was the only time Coleman Kerry can get the ball off Mikey. You have memories of that day as a young fella, Stephen.
Yeah, it's been mine, it's in there, yeah, 87. It was fantastic times to start, I suppose, the great few years for Cork football. There's two great characters there, you find them both actually two great. I suppose now at the moment, despite Mickey's knee being a bit dodgy, but no, they were great times, and we got a great run of on it, you know, and again, with Kerry coming off a couple of All-Irelands at that stage, and 3 in a row, and I think it's probably a bit small but similar. The Kerry fellas have a lot of mileage on the top this time around, and maybe one or two of them are coming to the end of it. And also, we forgot to mention the likes of Kerry of missing Seamus Mine and Michael McCarthy, two huge losses. So I think a few different factors are adding up to the big surprise Sunday.
But you're really working up on this. Tell me, speaking of losses, Anthony Lynch, if he didn't play, that'll be a big loss time for Cork, wouldn't it?
Definitely from an experience point of view. I think there's only a handful of them have played in the 99 final. Like, and he's one of the leaders on the team as well. He drives them on.
You talk about build-up and tension and drama. You had a story about 91 and one of your teammates, Stephen.
The funny story, usually the nature of it, we were very serious, obviously, but the Munster final in 91, great Colm O'Rourke, who was now lives off in America, Colm O'Neill, was sent off in 1990. He was taken off in 91 Munster final down in Killarney when we were going for 3 in a row ourselves. So Colm was taken off just before half time, and we were down a few points, I think, so Billy came in and gave a rousing speech at half-time, and Colin into his sneakers, so walked back out onto the field. Those times players didn't come back on again a second time, you know. So I'd say about quarter of an hour into the second half, I was on the bench, I was injured up there, and Kerry myself, and John nudged me and said, I'd look at Colin over, and there was 40,000 people in Killarney that they screamed their heads off, and Colin had his traction behind him, and he was sitting in the corner, he was snoozing away from himself, you know. We couldn't believe it, so Kerry said, watch this now. So Kerry again, Colin, wake up, he says, Colin, what's wrong? Really shouted, he said, they'll come back on again. So he got up, he put his head off the top of it, looked down and saw his sneakers on him, he said, no boots, he says, no boots. So he looked up and Billy was coming back after giving the backseat over rollicking, and Billy was fuming and driving the lads on, Billy, I've no boots. So Billy heard something but ignored it. Billy, I've no boots. And he went, what? He could barely hear, what? And Kerry dragging on nothing, Billy, nothing. We told Billy 2 days after he happened, so people up there.
Well, you're the case for Cork in so many ways now, and that's a belief now rather than ball hopping. You think it's still up for Cork, yeah.
I do, and I agree with the lads. I mean, Kerry are a fantastic side over the last couple of years. I seem to have Donaghy or the Gooch. I mean, obviously they probably will win as favourites and deservedly so, but I just don't think they're moving as well as they have been last year in particular, and as I said, the 2 lads are out. And one other thing I suppose is the Billy Morgan factor, which always, Kerry, I would say, if they really respected one Cork football over the years, would have to be Billy Morgan, and he would have a very good success rate against them. So I just think, obviously, everyone support Cork, but I think there's a few things going in our favour, and maybe we might see a chance of captain.
Johnny, make the case for Kerry.
I see it, I think Kerry with a better bench. That's a big thing. It's a big plus. It comes if there's 10 minutes to go or 15. I think they've definitely got better forwards and they're definitely more experienced. This is their 4th All-Ireland in a row. So it's hard to look beyond Kerry with offense, but it's a one-off. Like, Stephen's right, Billy Morgan will have them further up. It doesn't matter about support, whether they're getting it or not around the country. There's 30 of them there, plus their backroom staff, and that's all that matters to them. They have a great chance. They can write in Cork if they win this one. You know what I mean? Everyone's writing them off. Nothing to lose. And it's a one-off. It's a one day.
You've been you're covering your neighbours there as well a bit, Johnny, but anyway, that's the vote for Kerry. Mark Vaughan, you've been up close against Kerry this year. Who do you think will win?
I think Cork this year is SFC, and I thought they're very good in months of form, because I probably unlucky not to win it, you know. Probably could have been a penalty at the end of the game, and maybe if they'd taken a chance, they probably should have taken a point, the opportunity before that, and they would only have to get a point that stage to get a draw. So I just think Kerry haven't been as good as last year, you know. I think if we had played Kerry last year, they probably would have beaten us by a good bit more, and it's gone a lot closer. I think Cork have now got in a row against me. They seem to be very good, so I probably have to go for Cork.
Graham, did Meath make Cork look better than you think it might be?
Possibly looking on the outside they did okay. They were saying Meath didn't show up on the day, but Meath weren't let play on the day. Cork played very well. They swamped both sides around the middle of the field, put all their big men out there and changed their tactics from the game before that, where they were launching that, the high ball in the whole time. I think with that's the tactics they'll play again on Sunday against Kerry. Like pound for pound, Kerry will be probably they are the best team in the country. They have just answered, they have a big bench, which I think like Cork have been, they've been in the semi-final for 3 years. They've won this year, so I think possibly they might be more hungry this year, and I think they'll share the play a couple of times.
Wow. Stephen O'Brien has influenced the jury maybe. Alright then, well, there'll be full coverage of the game as usual on RTE Radio, RTE Online, and of course on the Sunday game. Michael Lester will be bringing us live coverage from 12:30 here at Croke Park. Great minor game in prospect as well between Kerry and Galway. That's at 1:30. And 3:30, of course, the big match in full and the action following. All of that will be followed by the Sunday game at 30:30.
Pascal Sheehy is on the Cork-Kerry border. Pascal, All-Ireland Sunday, a fitting stage for one of the greatest GAA rivalries ever?
Yes, indeed, Eamon. Cork-Kerry games have an intensity all of their own, but on Sunday that intensity will be moved to a whole new level. In a moment we'll be hearing how that rivalry has divided the village of Ballydesmond here on the Cork-Kerry border. But first, we've been sampling the atmosphere in Kerry.
Come on now, boys, 10 minutes left, come on!
St Michael's College in Listowel is one of many finishing schools for aspiring Kerry footballers.
Come on, Graham.
team manager and St Michael's teacher Liam Hassett is the holder of 3 All-Ireland medals.
19 Dowling, come on. Tighten up there, Dean.
This week Liam Hassett's been nurturing his charges on the intensity of Cork-Kerry rivalry.
Growing up, I suppose, you go to matches of Cork and Kerry in the Munster final. It was mainly the Munster final, you know, years ago. It was Kerry and Cork, and you know, it was bred into you that beating Cork was the be all and end all in Munster.
At Glenderry National School near Ballyheigan, North Kerry, hurling, not football, is the top sport.
Look into his hand now, keep it up off the ground. That's it, Padraig, up quick.
But even here, the excitement of Sunday's football final is proving irresistible.
I think it'll be quite a tight match from the beginning, and then I think Kerry will get a few goals to get them ahead, and then I think they'll win.
I think that Kerry will win because they always win every match, and they've won against Cork before.
Doing the double on Sunday will take a big effort, but Glenderry is prepared.
Cork is awash with red and white, but villagers in Ballydesmond on the county bounds are in a bit of a dilemma.
In every house practically in the village and a lot of the parish, there's either a Kerry father or a Cork mother, so some of the children are even split. Some of them Cork, more of them Kerry, more of them support their mum, more support their dad.
He's always give you up, but I'm not. I'm not going for Kerry.
You're going for Cork. Why have you decided to go for Cork?
Because they're the bestest.
But for once, no such dilemma in the O'Connor family. Dad may be a dyed-in-the-wool Kerry supporter, but on Sunday they're all behind Donegal.
Before he used to be Cork and Kerry, but at the moment there's football and getting an All-Ireland medal to Ballydesmond is what we want.
At Skull Crease Presentation Brothers in Cork City, they certainly know who they're shouting for on Sunday. And leave ex-pupil and Cork manager Billy Morgan in no doubt. He's one of 63 past pupils with All-Ireland medals, so the children here know what they're talking about.
It'll be a tight game. They're both very good teams, but I'd say Cork will come up on top.
Well, I think Cork can win it, but they have to stay tight on Colin Cooper and Kieran Donaghy.
Kerry aren't that good of a team. They're not as good as Cork, like.
It's 17 years since Sam has been back to his home county, but confidence is high that come Monday he'll be boarding a train with the Cork team bound for the southern capital. Jenny O'Sullivan, RTE News, Cork.
Well, we just have to wait and see about that, won't we? Joining me here in Ballydesmond to discuss Cork and Kerry's prospects on Sunday, our former Kerry goalkeeper Charlie Nelligan and Danny Cullity, a member of the last Cork team to win back-to-back titles in 1989 and 1990. Charlie Nelligan, to you first of all, it's 17 years since any county has won successive All-Ireland titles. What makes you think that Kerry will do it on Sunday?
Well, I can't really say why they haven't won it, but I can guarantee you something, that Kerry are treating Cork with the utmost respect on Sunday, and they're going to go out and give it their level best. I think we have forwards there which haven't really clicked yet, but hoping they'll do it on Sunday, and I know they have the fire in their bellies to do it.
And Danny Cullity, Cork have only won 2 of the last 10 games with Kerry. What makes you think that they can beat them on Sunday?
Well, Pascal, if you look at Cork, say 2 years ago when Kerry hammered them in the semi-final, there was a big improvement last year, and I'm sure Billy Morgan and his backroom team have improvement again this year, and I think Cork will just pick up by a couple of points.
Well, no consensus here. We'll obviously have to wait and see what happens on Sunday. So from a divided Ballydesmond, it's back to you in the studio in Dublin.
Anybody who's played Gaelic football will realise that wind is a major talking point, and it very much is here today at the Burlington Hotel. Since the Cork team woke up this morning, it's been the dominant part of the conversation. How will the wind affect the game in Croke Park? Well, the Cork team travelled from Kent Station in Cork yesterday afternoon. They left around 2 o'clock, got here to Houston around 5, and have been at the Burlington more or less since. They chilled out here last night and again this morning with little or no tension around the camp. Will Anthony Lynch play some part? Well, he had 3 pins inserted in his hand in surgery last Tuesday, and the expectation is, or the speculation more precisely, is that he may play some small role. But will he start? Well, that is definitely ruled out. John Miskela will play at number 7, and the Cork team, I can assure you, are fully focused, ready for the job. Can they beat the Kingdom? They depart by bus to headquarters just after 2 o'clock for the All-Ireland football final of 2007.
Here they are again, and apparently the reason they decided to stay in Dunboyne in the first place is because the Kerry teams of the 1920s and 1930s who were winning All-Irelands, well, they stayed in this part of Meath, so they're hoping it's a good omen. They got here at about 5 o'clock last night and went for a light kickabout in Westminstown over in West Dublin. And the good news for Kerry fans is that there were no late bumps and bruises picked up then, so everybody should be okay for today. Pat O'Shea, remember, named the same team that started the semi-final win against Dublin for today's big game. Kerry are due to leave Dunboyne at about the half-1 mark and are hoping to get to Croke Park for the All-Ireland final against their great rivals Cork just before 2.
Michael, for the moment, we go back to you in studio.
Well, as we can see, and then as a manager of both club and county. Well, if Cork were going to be in an All-Ireland final for the first time against Kerry, well, it wouldn't seem right if the man to lead them wasn't the Nemo Rangers man.
Billy Morgan.
I always felt that Cork had players as good as any in the country, but were mismanaged. Like, I mean, around that time, you had an awful lot of good underage teams coming through, but I felt that we were mismanaged. This time, you know, when I left the last time, I felt I'd done my stint with Cork, and that was it. But I mean, I suppose Cork football is my life, and it bugs me that, you know, that we're not doing as well as we should be. And I felt Cork had slipped back again into the dark old days, and you know, that certainly hurts me to a certain extent. And when, you know, the players asked me, then I felt I had no option but to come back, you know. Our first year with, say, the new team, really went to the semi-final, but got absolutely hockeyed by Kerry. But, you know, we regrouped and we got to the semi-final again last year, again beaten by Kerry. But, you know, we were a little bit closer to them, so I feel that we have been improving every year. Kerry, you see, are an outfit, like, the closer they come to an All-Ireland final, the better they get and the more difficult they become to beat. They're still the same 15 players that we met in Killarney, more or less. There might be 1 or 2 changes. We know they're going to be very, very difficult to beat, but look, on the day, I think Cork will just go out and play and, you know, not freeze or not get tied up and worry, but just go out and play, and if it's good enough, well and good. If it's not, well then fair play to Kerry.
And you, will you enjoy it along that sideline up and down?
No. I say to players, look, I always tell them, play as long as you can, because that's where the real enjoyment is. Once you go to the pitch and the whistle blows, you know, you don't worry anymore, you just go and play. Whereas on the line, you know, you're kicking every ball and making every decision for the referee, and, you know, and this kind of thing, you know, you can't really relax and enjoy the game. But if Sam O'Guire comes back to Cork, I will enjoy it.
I've no doubt he will. Cork manager Billy Morgan. Tony, of course, you played under Billy when he was manager of the Cork team, and you know him so well. What's he like to work with?
He's a brilliant manager. He's probably the best manager that I've ever came across. His passion is just unbelievable. It's unquantifiable, really, and his love for Cork football and for Nemo. And Billy is, like, again, you have to realise Cork football and where it's from, and it needs somebody like Billy Morgan to stand up among the crowd and speak for it, and if something is wrong, to shake it up and say, listen, this is wrong. But he's done more than that. He's come back after he's done his bit. He's done more than his bit. He captained Cork, trained Cork to win 2 All-Irelands, and now he's back of maybe bringing Cork to winning another All-Ireland, and there's nobody else could have that kind of a personality. I don't think he could sit in the stand and not wish not be involved in a Cork team that wins. It's his whole life.
Well,
his whole week.
He mentioned there in the interview that it hurts him not to see Cork doing better in football.
Yeah, well it would. It's his life. I don't think anybody has any idea about his passion, and it's not about money is a dirty word for him in a relation. He couldn't understand somebody managing another county or actually getting paid for it. He'd do it in his bare feet if he thought that it would bring on Cork football, because that's been his whole life, and every waking moment from the time he gets up in the morning to the time he goes to bed at night, it's how he can improve Cork football. And there's not many like him. I don't know anybody else like him.
Well, there's no doubt about that, and that kind of passion that he brings to Cork is something that also gets a reaction amongst Kerry people, as Joe Brawley was saying a moment ago there, Darrell.
I think that would be the desired effect in a lot of cases, but I suppose we have to understand where he's coming from. You know, I suppose a lot of his animosity towards Kerry would be, you know, created maybe by defeats over the years, let's say in his playing days and in his early years as manager. But there's no doubt, I won't say Kerry people are spooked by him, but he is a motivational device in itself. Like, to see Billy Morgan on the sideline, they want to beat a Cork team, you know, managed by Billy Morgan. I mean, you have to give the guy credit. Like, you know, he does get under people's skins, but what he does is he protects his players, and he's all about his players, and you can only admire that in a manager.
But he'd have tremendous respect for Kerry, Dara. And the one thing that people misread with him, he never sends his teams out to play dirty or to do anything. It's always played the game the way it should be played, you know.
Okay, well, let's hear then from the man in charge of Kerry of leading out the county on this historic day.
I suppose 89, 90, that era I'd have been still involved out in Nemo Street League level, and I remember the likes of Stephen O'Brien and Billy Morgan coming out like with Sam Maguire, and that's where the passion started. So around 98 there, I was in the Cork minor team, but we were actually beaten in the first round by Limerick that year. I was involved in the 21s then for 2 years after that. We just won a Munster. There was no All-Ireland medals there, but we did win a Munster in the last year, and I suppose after that then I progressed on to the senior levels, so I've been there I suppose 5 or 6 years now. You don't get the following as the hurlers do, and that can get you down sometimes, but other times it can spur you on. Like that there's the flip side of that, there's no pressure on you really as such, because there's not as much expectation of you, like, but so that takes the pressure off certainly, but it's something we're just used to now. It's a hurling county, it's simple as that, you accept it.
In terms of this particular team, it's taken quite a while for it all to gel, to evolve, hasn't it?
The fact that a lot of us don't have minor and 21 All-Irelands, we were kind of devoid of a bit of confidence, and it was really kind of drove into us like the second he took over in 2004, that, you know, we're capable of beating anything in the country, which we now know we are, but it just took a couple of years to seep in, I suppose, because the panel was changing and there was a lot of new faces coming in, but eventually I think the management and fair play to the selectors as well, they got it right and they got the blend right, and we seem to be going well now as a result. I think the 6 weeks, I don't think would have suited us, the 6-week break that Kerry had. I think it would have suited them, because this is their 4th All-Ireland final in a row, and they've been on the go a long time now, and, you know, playing a lot of intense games. So I think the 6 weeks would have done them the world of good, and it did, as it's shown now that they're in the final again. But I don't think it would have done us any good, because we kind of need as many high-profile, tough championship matches as we can get. And the fact is, Kerry, it's like another Munster final, another way. Like, so it kind of takes that stress out of it, really, because there's always the unknown factor of if you were playing Dublin or if you were playing like Tyrone or Armagh in All-Ireland final. You know, there's always the unknown factor, but we know Kerry inside out and they know us, so it's just another Munster final, really. I think if we're to beat them, we kind of have to be almost out of sight, really. At the last 5 minutes, we need a 3 or 4 point cushion to be anywhere safe, because if you're not, they don't panic. Like, they're used to All-Ireland finals, the occasion won't get to them. So I think if we're to beat them, we really have to be a 4 or 5 point better team going into the last 5 minutes of the game.
Let me bring you forward to All-Ireland football final day, Derek. You are the captain. What are you going to say to your team?
It's the biggest day of our lives, and not to get carried away with the kind of the All-Ireland final day. It's just a case of just enjoying it. Because probably you might never again play in an All-Ireland final, you never know, so I think you just kind of have to enjoy it and hopefully win it.
In 6 of the last 7 years, one of the teams that has been beaten in the championship so far has gone on to reach the All-Ireland final, and Cork are the 6th. Kerry were one of the teams as well last year, of course, beaten at the provincial championship and came back through the qualifier. And the question, Martin, really is, do we today, as a result of all of this, have the 2 best teams in the country playing in the final, do you think?
I think we definitely have, Ger. Like at the beginning of the year, we looked at Armagh, Tyrone and Kerry as the top 3. Armagh were, never came out of the blocks. Tyrone were mortally wounded with injuries. Cork and Kerry, I thought, played a wonderful game of football on the 1st of July and gave notice, actually, that they would be there at the end of the championship. And I think definitively they are the best 2 teams in the championship this year.
At that stage, I think some people had an inkling they might meet again. We're wondering, would it be in the final? It is. Now, how do you think it's going to go?
Well, I think Kerry have one advantage, and that's familiarity with the occasion. And I think they have great class in their forward line. I think for Cork to succeed, it needs to be a low-scoring game. The prevention and basically containment need to be the order of the day with them. I think, though, again, with the experience that Kerry have, they'll probably get a narrow win.
Okay, so it's Kerry for Martin Carney. We'll see how it's going to pan out. The throw-in, of course, as per usual, it's at 3:30. Michael.
Jared, despite the rivalry between Cork and Kerry, there are some communities where, well, no matter who wins, they will be celebrating. Now we're talking about villages and parishes which straddle the county borders. Places like Ballydesmond, where we're joined now by Dara Maloney.
In the build-up to today's All-Ireland final, the town of Ballydesmond here in Cork has been getting lots and lots of attention. Now the reason is because it's right on the Cork-Kerry border. The bridge behind me over the River Blackwater actually separates the 2 counties. Now as you would expect, there's fantastic support for both Kerry and Cork here, but this match today has caused the odd little division in some of the households around here. Take Donnacha O'Connor, for example, who plays corner forward for Cork in Croke Park today. His dad owns a pub here in Ballydesmond, but he's a Kerry native and he'll be shouting for his native kingdom at Croke Park this afternoon. But which of the O'Connors will be celebrating come 5 o'clock this evening? We'll find out later on. From Ballydesmond in County Cork, bye for now.
Dara Maloney in a precarious place down there, depending on how the match goes. Kerry flags one side of the bridge, Cork flags the other.
Dara, I think, is well able to bend with whichever way the wind is blowing anyway. He's learned that very well. He's living out in Meath now, so he's quite flexible at Dublin Meath, so he gets on very well with the natives. But, that great rivalry there, and I suppose we, removed from Cork and Kerry, missed that little part of it. When Dublin went out, over for the game. I was over for the game.
I was walking in before the semi-final between Dublin and Kerry, and I was talking to the Kerry kit man. It was about 11:30 in the morning of the match, and I said to him, how do you think the game will go? And he said, if we don't beat Cork, we'll never live it down. This was before they had played Dublin in the semi-final. Yeah, and that was the focus. The thing is to get past Dublin, because this is a game, where the pride of the county is at stake and our reputation's at stake. So obviously they'll see it as a huge blow down there if they lose the game, in spite of all their All-Irelands and all their great success.
Yeah, well, I remember a Kerry player years ago saying to me, asked him, was he fed up playing Cork like in Munster finals? Would you win every year then? He says, Jibbers, he says, you never get fed up beating Cork. Anyway,
so good die Pangachroking, die erigen Schachtel krev a wuchtent, Hakim go agus muited na Galí Cogado Shaska Shachto She Ochto She na bhí Alan Mulholland Erwidin agus Inish Marvanish Duid on Vert Dienta a Riestige agus muited Ruide agus a Gree Blishtiglan the Impointe Boin agus Lishin She's Hulse Devline Marty Morrissey.
Míle agad a bhí Hill Alan Mulholland, manager of the Galway minor team. Congratulations, that was an amazing comeback. You obviously always believed in this side.
Joe Bradley, Colin O'Rourke with me here in the studio. Joe, I thought you were going to win that, I have to say.
Congratulations.
Caught in the end, I'm afraid.
I think there were a couple of turning points. Galway, it's difficult for young players, especially, I think, defending the lead. They went 6 points up, and you would have thought, they'd be thinking, look, well, there's the winning post. Whereas the Galway boys were just getting on with the game. And there were a couple of turning points. The first one, I thought, when Derry got the 21-yard free in, and it was thrown away by young McCaig from Slaughtneil, you know, triumphalising into his man's face, which was rotten. And I must say, even though I'm a Derry man, I'm delighted that the referee did take the free away and chastise him. That was very important, because Derry would have gone 4 points up. Instead, Galway came down the field and scored a point and closed it to 2. And obviously the second turning point was when McGeehan hit the post. At that stage we would have been 6 points up with about 8 minutes to play.
I suppose
Hard push to find two greater celebrities on All-Ireland final day, and 25 years after 1982 than Seamus Darby and Matt Connor. Lads, you're very welcome. Thanks for joining me. Seamus, you caused an awful lot of problems in 1982. A lot of defenders down in Kerry still ruining the day they came in contact with you. Does it bring back memories when you come up on a day like today?
Of course it does, yeah. 25 years after, it went very quick, but All-Ireland final day is a very special hurling football, and they're unique. Our game was very close, and I think that it'll be down to the wire, either to each way, either way.
Now, Matt, you had enough to say as well with those 2 late frees before Seamus' goal in 82. Will it be as close as that, do you think, today?
I think it'll be a close game, because I think that the two teams know one another very well, and they'll know all about one another, and it's going to be close for that reason alone, you know. And they're very evenly matched, you know. Maybe Kerry have a little more firepower in the forwards, which might tell it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cork win it either. You know.
Either way, close enough.
I think it'll be very, very close, yeah.
Are you looking forward to the match?
It'll be a good game, yeah. It's a unique final, yeah. It should be a good game, yeah.
Okay, well, we're all very delighted to be here today on our final day of 2007. Michael, for the moment, back to you in studio.
Well, those lads, I don't know if you're watching up for the match last night, but Seamus Darby was making mention of the fact they're going for a trip abroad someplace tomorrow. That'll be some crack.
That'll be hairy.
Yeah.
Holy God.
Well,
Seamus Darby acknowledged, I have to say.
It's great to see a team so united after 25 years. But I remember I stood
pushing the history of
I stood on Hill 16 and got very wet that day. It was a historic day, and I often feel, you know, sorry for the Kerry fellas who won so much, and they're often reminded of the day they lost, you know.
Well,
and
I must say I don't feel the slightest bit sorry for them.
They take it with good grace. I was at the function in Tullamore for the 25-year celebration, and Kerry fellas showed up, and you know, it was Offaly's night, and it must have been tough enough on them. Like Mike Sheehy often comments on the fact that he's always reminded of missing the penalty that could have won 5 in a row.
I mean, I think if you've got 8 All-Ireland medals, it's easy enough to be gracious, you know.
Well, that's the Offaly team there then of 1982. The team being honoured here at Croke Park today, as I said, Micheál Murray introduces the players to the crowd. Ger Canning is in our commentary box.
Yes, Michael, some of them have been introduced already, like Richie Connor and Matt Connor. And down along the line of terrific players. Well, Charlie Conroy is next, known as a tough and reliable defender, waving as well to the crowd and to his daughter Jennifer, who's in Melbourne today.
He's a very, very special player. Only 15 players in the annals of the GAA have won All-Ireland medals at senior hurling and senior football. This is one of them, Liam Currams.
Liam Currams came so close to winning 2 All-Ireland medals in the same year. I suppose he was the Teddy McCarthy of a few years earlier.
This time brothers with a very, very famous son. The first is Stephen, the second is Seamus, and they're both Darby's.
Well, Stephen Darby was introduced into the full back line during the 82 final. Seamus, of course, came on and scored that goal. You saw him and heard him talking to Ivan just a few moments ago.
The midfielder with the longest hands in football, Pádraig Dunn.
Pádraig Dunn at that stage was an emerging talent with genuine class. He was only 19.
And believe it or not, we have yet another set of brothers, this time the Fitzgeralds. Mick, who played at left corner back, and Pat, who played at right half back. The Fitzgerald McGarvey.
Well, there's Mick on the left-hand side, Pat, who later became the Offaly manager in the red hair, of course, a flying wing-back from Gracefield.
That panel of 82 that won that wonderful All-Ireland final, Martin Fitzpatrick.
Now, Martin Fitzpatrick was a superbly talented forward who ironically came very close to being introduced in the final, but Seamus Darby got the nod instead.
Player on the field, winner of a minor All-Ireland in 64, seniors in 71, 72, another senior in 82, and played for a good number of years afterwards. From New York, Martin
Martin Furlong, the goalkeeper, now based in New York, saved a penalty in the 82 final. Still remembered as one of the great goalkeepers of the time.
The wing forward, John Guinan.
John Guinan was the star of the Leinster Championship semi-final that year over Laois. Scored a crucial goal.
Introduce you to 3 sets of brothers on the team. Another set, this time there are 3 of them. Sean, Mick and Brendan Lowry of Trudera.
Well, Sean Lowry, one of the 3 brothers, later played for Mayo, of course. Mick Lowry, right corner back on the day. Brendan Lowry, 2 goals and 7 points in the 82 championship.
Back in his time, Ollie Minnock.
Ollie Minnock played in the opening game of the 82 championship against Laois and then suffered a very nasty injury. Kept him out for the rest of that season.
For a while he would make it here today, as he often did around the goal. He made it at the right time. Johnny Mooney has arrived.
Johnny Mooney was an outstanding talent when he was at his very best, and in 82 he was at his very best. Man of the match in the semi-final.
We had the Connors, now we have the O'Connors. Liam, who played at full-back, and Tomas, who started around the centre of the field. Winter
Liam O'Connor, highly dominant that year, of course, at the full-back line. Tomas won an All-Star in 78.
Played with Westmeath at the time and played with Offaly. Aidan O'Halloran.
Aidan O'Halloran from Moat played in the previous year's final when Offaly were beaten by Kerry. He was a defensive wing forward.
That Offaly team that won that quarter of Ireland when they won in 1982, Liam O'Mahony.
Liam O'Mahony's score of 3 points when he was introduced as a sub in the Leinster final. That was that victory over Dublin in 82.
Last from the line was very often number 1 when he was playing goal for Offaly, Dinny Wynn.
Dinny Wynn, St. Rhina's goalkeeper. He was the understudy to Martin Furlong. And now a very well-respected club coach. We missed Hughie Bolton, we missed Jerry Carroll as well. We got the Connors, Richie and Matt. Matt, of course, has scored 82 goals and 660 points in his wonderful career. And tribute paid as well there, and deservedly so, to the great Eugene McGee, a wonderful coach who is having a doctorate conferred on him by the NUI on Thursday, and he then goes off with the rest of these to join them on their Mediterranean cruise. They are setting sail on Monday. Hope they enjoy it 25 years later. And Offaly's progress in 82 was steady and incremental. In 79 they reached the Leinster final but lost. Then they won it in 1980, lost to Kerry in that year's high-scoring semi-final, and then they reached the 81 final, beaten again by the Kingdom, but in 82 they were not to be denied. Seamus Darby's famous goal, push or no push on Tommy Doyle, and the record book shows Offaly 115, Kerry 17 points. Offaly's 3rd All-Ireland win. Kerry still searching for 5 in a row.
All-Ireland semi-final. I thought Kerry won that clearly, but in the Munster final, Kerry weren't as superior to Cork, so maybe the gap is closing all the time. Maybe it's Cork's day. I doubt it.
Well, whichever way it goes, gentlemen, it's a fantastic scene again, of course, for an All-Ireland final here at Croke Park, as the Cork supporters welcome their team. So Cork are out, team photograph. Joe Brolly, these are moments that players, the two of you, that you remember so well. I mean, 93 was just so special, I'm sure.
You can't remember these sorts of things here, you know.
Do you just have to shut your mind away from this?
Well, yeah, I just can't really remember. I can't really remember it, you know. I mean, the razzmatazz and all, you can't really remember. I mean, I can just barely remember actually being in Croke Park then, you know, for the final. I have some better memories of the semi-final. You know, the final, you're just sort of cocooned away, you know, and you're focusing on what it is you need to do. I mean, I can't remember the crowd at all in the final or anything like that. It's a good long time ago. It's about 14 years.
And what chance have I?
You know, I would describe the crowd as heads of cabbages that you have to kind of just.
Yeah, well, I think most players, you know, when the game starts, you lose the crowd altogether, and it's a game of football, and whether there's 1 or 80,000 there, you just get immersed in the game.
You can sense when the team gets ahead of momentum. For example, if you're in the middle of a comeback, you can sense the crowd very much roaring you on, you know, because it goes to that extra sort of level. And I mean, the big question I think for Billy Morgan today before the match is the tactical one. Does he play Cusson on the edge of the square, which I think that he should do for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's a mismatch. Tom O'Sullivan's a very small fullback. I mean, and in the Munster final, 2 balls were kicked in. Cusson caught both of them and put them over the bar. Secondly, it brings Masters into the game because you don't want Masters going in these sort of lung burst sprints out the field against Mark O'Shea, which he's going to lose anyway. But he's very dangerous as a sniper, moving in and around Cusson, and it brings the danger zone in there. I mean, Cork are going to be winning a lot of possession, and what they don't want to be doing is running the ball through with short hand passes. And even though it's their natural game, it's not going to work well against this Kerry team, because the one thing that marks this Kerry team out is pace all over the field. Lump the ball in long, they get a goal, they start getting points in there, it's going to embolden them. I mean, I think they should go for it.
Let's welcome the All-Ireland champions, Kerry. You talk, Colin Rourke, about the rivalry between these two counties. There's absolutely no doubt about it whatsoever. And yet, you know, the fantastic thing is when you look around Croke Park and you look at the scene, it is a mixture. It's a mixture all the way around the stadium of Cork and Kerry.
Yeah, well, it's
almost like they decided to come up here holding hands together.
That's right. It's a unique occasion, and it's what the GA is all about. When the game is over, okay, there's great rivalry between them, but you know, people will go back and will be civil to each other and get on with their normal lives. It's a great sporting contest, and there's a lot, you know. Darragh O'Shea on Nicholas Murphy.
Yeah.
Darragh O'Shea going for 5 All-Ireland. So he's
probably in his last year.
Maybe in his last year. He's a bit like Doc Halliday at the OK Corral. You know, it could be his last shootout. So, you know, there's a lot of interesting side shows.
There's always sorry.
All right, lads, we have a commercial break coming up. After that, we look forward to this year's All-Ireland football final, and as with the hurting, great interest by the fans in faraway places as well, even some of them unlikely. Stand, and she is talking to a couple of people who know what Cork and Kerry rivalry is all about.
Yes, Michael, and I'm also with 2 men who know exactly what it's like to play big matches at Croke Park. Former All-Ireland winning captain with Kerry, Liam Hassett, and former Cork scoring machine, Colin Corkery. Liam, you've played in so many All-Ireland finals, it's getting close now. What will be going through the players' minds at the moment?
Yeah, I suppose at this stage every player is anxious to get out in the field, and there's a lot of tension. I suppose the grabbing rights are up for grabs for the next however long, 10 years, 20 years. Whoever wins today, I think, will be written into the history books, and it might never happen again. Kerry and Cork might never happen, might never meet in an All-Ireland final. So a lot up for grabs today. Players are nervous. I was talking to a few of them during the week, and they're just waiting for the ball to be thrown in, and hopefully nobody get hurt.
Is that a warning for Cork, I think, Colin?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tense enough today. I think the rivalry going back over the years, especially I suppose with this team and the Kerry, Cork team and this Kerry team, it's probably going to be a rough game today, probably for the first 20 minutes, but I think it'll even out, and then a bit of football will be played, and hopefully we can come out on top.
Now, you held the burden of being Cork's main scoring threat for many years. That's passed on to James Masters. It's a very big day for him today, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it is, because of the injury as well, I suppose. He's under pressure. He hasn't played for 6 or 7 weeks now, and even more, I think. But he's going to be under pressure. But, James is one of these guys that nothing kind of phases him. So, if he gets a few early balls today, I think he can do havoc,
And in one word, can Cork do it today?
They have a very good chance, and I think they will, but it just depends on their midfield today.
Well, what do you think, Liam? Is it Kerry's day again?
Yeah, I think Kerry in their 4th All-Ireland final in a row, and definitely these boys are up for it. It's against Cork, and Cork bring out the best in Kerry, and we're going to win today.
Smiles from both of these men at the moment, but the big question is, who'll be smiling come 5 o'clock?
That's a question, all right. Time here on the programme to give you a detailed rundown on the 2 teams. So we hand you over to the commentary box, where we're joined by Ger Canning.
Thanks very much indeed, Michael. So let's start with the Rebels. And for Cork's first All-Ireland final appearance in 8 years, only Nicholas Murphy in midfield today was part of their last starting final 15. That was against Meath, of course. Another, Anthony Lynch, misses out because of injury, while two subs that day in 99 finally get their chance today. That's Alan Quirk in goal, and left half John Miskela. The significant change up front since the semi-final win has been the recall of the recovered James Masters, with Daniel Goulding losing out. Kerry have named an unchanged team from that which saw up the Dubs at the end of August. It means that 8 of these players are starting a 4th successive All-Ireland final. Among them goalkeeper Diarmuid Murphy, top scorer Colm Cooper, and the O'Shea brothers Tomas and Mark. The other brother, Dara, of course, missed the 2004 final because of an injury. But even so, he's facing Cork this afternoon for the 18th time in the championship, and he's won 10 of those. Martin Kearney is alongside me to take a closer look at this afternoon's finalists, starting with Cork's goalkeeper.
Yeah, Alan Quirk, I think, look at him, Ger. Apart from the quality of his kickouts, I think his formidable presence offers reassurance and reliability to a full back line, where Michael Shields, Graham Canty and Kieran O'Connor, I think, must be aggressive, they have to be disciplined, and they must primarily concentrate on their defensive duties, because gaps at the back could prove fatal.
Right, Anthony Lynch is a sub, he's not starting.
Not starting, and I fear for this half-back line, because I think O'Leary can be too fiery, Spillane too loose, and at times I suppose John Miskela is somewhat inexperienced.
The newspapers today are saying that Cork will dominate midfield.
It wouldn't surprise me, because Derek Hadden and Nicholas Murphy have excelled all year. They are proven ball winners, they have higher energy inputs, and both are capable of notching vital scores.
The other forward change, of course, from the last day, Conor McCarthy starts today.
He starts today, and I think there's a big onus in the half-forward line, where the three of them must sow uncertainty in the Kerry defence.
Into the full forward line, James Masters is back. He's had no real serious football since the Sligo match.
That is true, but I think the gamble of starting James Masters I'd agree with. He's a cool finisher, and I think teammates trust him. Cousins' role, I'd expect it will take in the midfield. Donogh O'Connor has remained a consistent scoring threat all year.
Alright, the All-Ireland champions are Kerry in this 99th ever clash of Cork and Kerry in championship football. Their goalkeeper from Dingle, Diarmuid Murphy, big tall man.
Big tall man, but and I reckon that in Diarmuid Murphy they have this year's all-star goalie. Although his kickouts didn't result in Kerry possession often enough in the semi-final.
In the full back line, new full back this year, that's Tom O'Sullivan.
Yeah, very, very solid. Mark O'Shea and Pádraig Reedy are flanking him, and I think O'Shea's man-marking job will be critical today.
In the half back line then, Martin, Killian Young, new young player.
New young player, an exceptional talent whose calmness belies his years, and Tomas O'Shea will really revel in a little bit of rumble with the rebels.
Into midfield, and Dara O'Shea back once again, pursuing another All-Ireland medal.
Yeah, going for his 5th, and he's a big task today to master Nicholas Murphy. I think age and, I suppose you could say, injury have blunted his sharpness.
Right, the half-forward line today includes the captain. He's back once again, Declan O'Sullivan, playing great football.
Playing great football. He in particular has added vision, greater scoring power and responsibility to his game this year, and he'll get great support from Brosnan and Galvin.
It'll be interesting to see, Martin, where the big man, Kieran Donaghy, plays.
I would expect him to play out around the middle of the field. He was very versatile in the semi-final, but beside him he is Colm Cooper, who continues to grow in stature and mature, and he's so easy on the eye, Ger, mixing bravery, sublime skill and vision in every game.
Alright, well, the head today in the All-Ireland final features Donogh O'Connor on the left there, scorer of a goal and 21 so far this year, and Colm Cooper. The Gooch has 114 to his credit, having played 2 fewer games. Back to Michael.
That will be an interesting head-to-head. Donogh O'Connor will have half the parish behind him. He's in Ballydesmond, of course, on the border, as we were talking about a little bit earlier on. Kieran Donaghy out around the middle?
Well, you see, if Canty goes to pick up Gooch, and there's this notion going around that Canty can master Gooch, but I don't think that's right. I mean, he marked Gooch last year in the Munster final, but Cullen's head was elsewhere, and he had 8 shots on goal. I mean, he scored 2, but if he gets 8 shots on goal today, but if that happens, then Donaghy should stay on the edge of the square. I mean, the thing about Donaghy is this: he's only scored 2 points from play in 4 championship matches, but he's ready to rock.
Yeah.
He's been playing very well, and I still think that if with the right ball going in, he can be absolutely devastating in there. I mean, Cork are better placed to deal with it than Mayo were last year, but still he's such a consistent threat. I would keep him in there, particularly if that switch is made.
He looked up for the last day now.
Yeah, very much so, and played very well and very unselfish. And again, I would agree with Joe that if Canty takes the Gooch, Donaghy should stay in at least at the start, because Cork haven't a big enough cornerback then to take Donaghy.
Right.
Cork have a very, very big team, but the smallest area of their team actually is the full back line, where Kerry are most dangerous. And Sheehan is a very big man too, a corner forward. He's 6'2". But Cork have a huge team up the field. But they definitely would have difficulty coping with Donaghy on some of the smaller cornerbacks.
The secret is the show against the Dubs is to get the ball to Gooch. You know, apparently Derek Nadesy was telling me, you know, he was down at one of the training matches in Killarney last week, and he said the crowd were just, you know, gasping at Gooch's sort of array of tricks, you know, and apparently he's playing the football of his life. And, you know, as you saw against the Dubs, the secret's to get the ball to him.
Well, the carpet is red here in Croke Park today. No green and gold in it, but the President of Ireland is here accepting the salute.
Her Excellency President Mary McAleese, no stranger to Cork Kerry matches. She's seen them play in Munster finals in recent years. They're with GAA President Nicky Brennan. Coming across then to meet the Cork captain first of all, who is Derek Kavanagh. And Cork looking for just a 7th All-Ireland football win, which for a county of its size has, I think, very underachieved in this code over the last 116 championships. Conor McCarthy, the big Pierce O'Neill there wearing number 11, Kevin McMahon, goal scorer against Meath, the giant Michael Cusson. Onto the officials then, and the referee is David Coldrick from Meath. His linesmen, Marty Duffy from Sligo and Maurice Deegan. The 4th official is Robert O'Donnell from Donegal. And the umpires get a greeting as well. David Coldrick there, brother-in-law of brother-in-law John, Jerry Lynch from Dunshaughlin, Seamus Cohan from Drumree, and Cormac Riley from St Mary's in Drogheda. Benny Coldrick and Tony Carney miss out today as they're recovering from illness. Benny is David Coldrick's dad. Then it's Kerry's turn, and Declan O'Sullivan introducing the undisputed kings of Gaelic football down the years, Tomas O'Shea. Aidan O'Mahony has taken over as centre-half back this year. That's young Killian Young. Darragh O'Shea looking for more All-Ireland medals. Seamus Scanlon in midfield. Then it's Owen Brosnan there, down along the line towards Kieran Donaghy, via Colin Cooper the Gooch as well. And the last man, the dark-haired Brian Sheehan there. Last words with Her Excellency. And the captain doing his job, introducing the players. And so, the scene is very firmly set here in Croke Park. And the All-Ireland final is now just minutes away.
Rambling, where to begin? I taste the summer on your peppers.
Sort of situations that, you know, the 3 certainties of life are death, taxes and Kerry winning the All-Ireland. I don't see anything to change my mind today.
Joe?
Yeah, I think Kerry's greater sort of instinctive scoring ability up front will shade it for them.
Thank you, lads. Beautiful scene here at Croke Park. Commentary on the All-Ireland football final of 2007 is by Ger Canning and Martin Carney.
Thanks, Michael. It's the first football final between 2 teams from the same province since Tyrone, of course, played Armagh back in 2003. And in those 4 years, well, what progress today's finalists, Cork and Kerry, have made. Kerry's defeat by Tyrone that year in 2003 in the semi-final, you remember it, it caused major ripples in the kingdom. The result, 4 successive All-Ireland final appearances, 2 wins so far. And these Cork men, well, in 2003 they were beaten 16 points to 6 by Limerick in their own Porky Queeve, and just about hit rock bottom that day. The result, Billy Morgan returned. 2004, well, saw panel adjustment, not much achievement that year. And then, over the next couple of years, 2 semi-final appearances. There was a Munster final victory last year, and now a first All-Ireland final appearance since 1999. A very definite progress being made by both these counties over the last 4 years. Declan O'Sullivan, the captain once again this year, looking to lead them to victory. It would be quite an achievement. Looking around the ground, it's still filling up, Martin. A little while ago we were saying maybe 75,000 people here. Not quite sure if it's reached the capacity just yet.
I'd agree with that, sure. I don't think it is near capacity, actually. I'd say if you have the 82,000 there, you know, it's certainly be a test of it. Seen about 10 minutes ago, you had only about 75,000 at the ground. Again, it's quite a nice day for a game. We had a bad shower around 2 o'clock today, which made the pitch very slippy for the minor game. But since then, actually, the ground has dried out very well. The wind that we've seen, that we saw rather than a lot of the pre-match stuff, seemed to actually be very strong. But that shower at 2 o'clock, I think, has taken a lot of the jizz out of it.
It's Kerry who won the toss. They will be playing from left to right, which means their goalkeeper will be down at the Hill 16 end for the first 35 minutes. It's mostly sunshine at this stage. How big a role will the Gooch have this afternoon? A very influential one, you would imagine. It's a wonderful setting. The poor misfortunate people who have the seats down in the lower reaches of the different stands here in this horseshoe effect of Croke Park, well, they got drenched during the first half of the minor game. They're probably still drying out at this stage, such as the geography and the physical limitations of this brand new stadium. Interesting that Anthony Lynch has joined in there to add his tuppence halfpenny worth, and of course he is among the subs. Number 31, we understand he will be. Had a fitness test this afternoon. If needed, I'm told he could play.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for him that he picked up an injury last week. I feel if it was 2 weeks ago, actually, he could be playing today.
The national anthem is now going to be sung by Elaine Canning with the Artane Band and about 80,000 people at Croke Park on this lovely Sunday now in September. It's time for football. Kerry are the champions. They're also the favourites, it would seem, among the neutral fans. But Cork know they will never be forgotten if they win, while Kerry are aware that they may never be forgiven if they lose. Such is the rivalry here. David Coldrick from County Meath is the match referee. Big occasion for him. Kerry from left to right in the first half. Lots of movement already around the place. Forwards running this way, backs trying to follow. Padraig Reedy there pursuing James Masters out of the corner of my eye. Can pick up. Donaghy is in full forward. And we're ready for the start. Listen to the roar. It's the beginning of the 118th All-Ireland football final. Seems like a Munster football final. Munster final moved to Croke Park. And straight away Mark O'Shea fouled in possession. Free to Kerry, taken by his brother Tomas. Ger Spillane over there, not quite able to hold it. The ball is going to be a little greasy. Michael Shields keeping it away from Brian Sheehan. Going low to take it here is Michael Cusson, 6'7" tall, trainee Garda. Darragh O'Shea knows this scene so terribly well. Kerry with the All-Ireland final experience. Been here so many times. Paul Galvin. And that is going to be a free to Cork. Not the best. Sliding in to take it once again is Mark O'Shea. Here's Aidan O'Mahony, pursued by Kevin McMahon. Darragh O'Shea. The O'Shea's so influential for Kerry, but that's a poor kick away. Straight to Michael Shields. McMahon letting it in. Trying to provide the ammunition inside for James Masters. And sliding off the boot of Padraig Reedy. He's claiming he was being tugged.
Yeah, the game has opened a little bit nervous on both sides. Actually, you've had a flurry of poor passes. And one switch I think is worth noting is Tomas O'Shea has gone centre half back and he's marking Pierce O'Neill.
He's done that in the past. That is spilled, recovered by Tom O'Sullivan. In trouble himself there. Fouled by Conor McCarthy. Free to Kerry. Down towards Owen Brosnan, and he's been marked by Noel O'Leary. They've kept Noel O'Leary away off Paul Galvin. That's interesting. Two men who've known to have a bit of a fiery temper. That's James Masters. Coming down towards Pierce O'Neill, gathered in securely, and fouling him is Tomas O'Shea in the view of the match referee. Here's what happened again.
Yeah, I think Tomas O'Shea definitely holds on to Pierce O'Neill in that case, and again O'Neill gets the chance, or James Master rather, gets the chance to put Cork into the lead.
Well, this will be taken by the man who's come back, received that facial injury in the match against Sligo at the quarter-final stage. At that particular time in the season, I think he felt the season of the championship was over. But he's back, and he's got the opening point of the day. In the third minute, Cork go in front, and that's a confidence booster for James Masters.
Yeah, one of the things we wondered about at the beginning of the game was where Michael Cousins would play. He's actually playing in an orthodox full forward position, being marked by Thomas Sullivan. And again, Aidan O'Mahony has gone to a favoured position at wing back, where he's marking Kevin McMahon.
And up at the other end, Kieran Donaghy is in full forward. Seamus Scanlon jumping for this one, lets it drop down. McMahon there trying to take it, surrounded by Kerry players. It's Aidan O'Mahony, Martin Carney was talking about there. Lobbing it in dangerously. All taken by Alan Quirk. Oh, not the best of passes out to John Miskela. Paul Galvin had 3 shots in the semi-final against Dublin. In the opening 4 minutes, got 2 points. There's a little block on that one by Derek Kavanagh. I think he just took the heat out of it anyway. Kerry's first wide. Paul Galvin.
Yeah, I think all that was very, very tight indeed. A nice little 1-2 between Galvin and Kieran Donaghy. But again, the shot selection was from a difficult enough position, and again, good pressure be put on by Derek Kavanagh.
Well, there's the match-up there. It's John Miskela who is picking up Paul Galvin. Well, they're playing in the positions at which they were selected. But there was always the feeling that Galvin on Noel O'Leary, and you never know what might happen. Here's Conor McCarthy, who play back around midfield, forage quite a lot. Derek Kavanagh, the captain. That bounces away once again from Mark O'Shea's hands into the centre of the park. Nicholas Murphy taken down here by Donegal O'Connor. It's such a good semi-final. Again, another wayward pass here, gathered in by Pádraig Reedy. Not the best of starts made by either team, although Cork have the lead. Here's Aidan O'Mahony. Thundering through the centre this time, the other number 6 after him. The all-star Jez Spillane does well. O'Mahony holds on securely. Nice release to Owen Brosnan. Kerry recycle again with O'Mahony. Last year's man of the match in the All-Ireland final. And that's over the bar. Wonderful shot. Well, he's delighted with that. They are as well, the Kerry fans up there in Hill 16. Sharing the space with the Cork supporters, the neighbours enjoying the opening of the tie, and that's where Aidan O'Mahony tied it up, 1 point apiece.
Yeah, I thought both teams are typically nervous at the beginning, but Aidan O'Mahony settled down very well, seemed to be more comfortable playing in a wing-back position, and that team persevered very well and took a good score.
Well, there's a requirement now for some attention for one of Pat O'Shea's players. Pat O'Shea in his first All-Ireland final with the senior team. Billy Morgan's been there many times before. I think it's the 35th time that Billy is up against a Kerry side, either as a player or as a coach. It's some record.
Yeah, wonderful record indeed, again going back over 40 years. But the thing that has surprised me today is both teams are so orthodox at the moment. Again, playing a very much a 6 forwards up front, no flooding in the midfield. I thought Cork would have been much more defensive actually than they have actually started.
Well, Aidan O'Mahony after that clash is okay. He's back in the action again. The physio's done her job. Megan Gooding. So a kick out for Cork from the 20-metre line. Alan Quirk, their Army officer goalkeeper. Thundering shoulder there on Derek Kavanagh. Another one then coming in on Declan O'Sullivan. Cork well aware of the danger that Declan O'Sullivan will possess as an attacking option. And Kieran Donaghy, bit of a push that time. He's penalised, doesn't agree with the referee's decision. This is where the ball's coming in between them again, holding off his man being Graham Canty. Back with the action, Kevin McMahon. Did he throw the ball to himself? He did, fouled the ball. Untypical,
and again a little bit of indecision on his part. Again, maybe inexperience and all of that, but nobody was really making a move for him to actually, so as he could, release the ball.
Colin Cooper ready to take this. Towards Donaghy. Canty easily in control of that situation. Rated the best full-back in the country at the moment. Great shoulder. He takes it easily and comfortably from Paul Galvin. Good start for him.
Great start for Canty. He's won the first couple of balls and tussles with Kieran Donaghy, and again leading by example from the back. Very, very strong when coming out for the ball.
Well, it was the punch in the end there by Paul Galvin that the referee has penalised. Free taken by John Miskala. Derek Kavanagh back towards Kieran O'Connor. Here comes Ger Spillane. Had a very good season last year. O'Connor slipping. Fouled as he was doing so by Brosnan. Free to Cork. Ticking there for Owen Brosnan for that last foul. Dragging his man back. Spillane getting good distance, breeze blowing across the field if anything, and that's going to be a free in for Cork. And Michael Cousins that time making his presence felt, and Tom O'Sullivan has picked up a ticking for that.
Yeah, Tom O'Sullivan is a very difficult job actually if he's going to play Michael Cousins from behind in situations. Okay, when in and around the goals you can expect him to play from behind, but that time I thought he should have been out in front, and I think had he been, he'd have won the ball on Cousins.
Well, Cork have free takers for the right-hand side and for the left-hand side. So left of goal, it's the man with the right boot from Ballydesmond. Donaghy O'Connor will take it, watched by his dad, Dan, who's a Kerry man. Catches it really well. Over the bar. Cork's first 2 points in this match come from frees, from Masters and now from O'Connor, and they lead by 2 points to 1.
Yes, that's a wonderfully struck free. Again, a difficult enough free because the wind is swirling there quite a bit at the moment, and that was struck with great confidence.
Kerry take the short kick out that time and get away with it. Cork were retreating, expecting a long one into the centre of the park. That'll be interesting to see if Kerry in fact do decide to use short kick-outs quite frequently during the game to bypass the height advantage that the Cork men would appear to enjoy in the centre of the park. Darragh O'Shea's made a lot of ground up towards Kieran Donaghy, last year's player of the year. Huge one in, it was intended for Gooch. Cork gets there instead. Good goalkeeping. Very solid number one for Cork. Ger Spillane just about getting it out. In difficulty. Picked up here by Declan O'Sullivan, the Kerry captain. O'Leary coming in to challenge, and then Shields as well. Between them they got him, but the referee didn't like the nature of the challenge, and for the sandwich it's a Kerry free in.
Yes, I think it was Cousin and Shield actually made a sandwich of Owen Brosnan at that time. And again, it must be said, Cork are applying great pressure in every area of the field to date.
So Declan O'Sullivan's foul results in Brian Sheehan getting a chance to put this one over the bar. Just left of goal. Man from St Mary's, usually very good at these, playing today in his 17th championship match. Catches it perfectly, nicely over. Match tied, 2 points apiece.
I must say he's a most beautiful style of place kicking, a very languid style, strikes the ball beautifully, somewhat like Maurice Fitzgerald used to strike it.
Knows Cork very well. He's at college down in CIT, along with a whole rake of others. It's Sigerson Cup medal winner in the past. Alan Quirk straight down the centre to try and win the ball, and Michael Cusson came out to collect that kick out. That may well be the tactic. Noel O'Leary now. Oh, it's a great block down, brilliantly done by Owen Brosnan. Seamus Scanlon next to pick it up here. Darragh O'Shea, his midfield partner, back once again to Brosnan with that great block. Good counter-attacking by Kerry. The champions set off looking for the lead point here, and there's a foul inside, and the referee shows the notebook to Michael Shields, and it is a black card for him, a ticking. And furthermore, it's a free in right in front of goal, and a gilt-edged opportunity now for Kerry to seize the lead here. This was the block moments ago here by Owen Brosnan. Has his critics, but he works really hard. Shows great endeavour. The Gooch kicking and putting it over. First point of the match for him, and Kerry are in front 3-2. First time they lead.
Yeah, again, just going back to that block, Kerry recycled the ball very, very well after that. In fact, Donaghy fielded it very well, and again, the free was given by Coldick for a free by Shields on Sheehan.
Let's go down to Marty Morrissey on the sideline. Marty.
Thank you, Gerard. Just an observation. Billy Morgan seems to be getting a little bit frustrated and has informed the linesman Maurice Deegan of a lot of off-the-ball activity going on. He was quite vociferous just a few moments ago, and Maurice Deegan did tell the referee by walkie-talkie that some of this is going on behind his back.
Interesting. Well, we can only follow the ball and see what we can see. It's been a first 12, nearly 13 minutes of a lot of frees. 17 frees so far in this All-Ireland final. Not a healthy statistic. That's Tomas O'Shea kicking into the side, missing his opportunity. Second wide for Kerry.
Yeah, it's all been a very messy game up to now. Again, far too much stop-start nature to it. Interestingly enough, at the moment, Michael Cusson has started to come out the field quite a bit and leave two men in the Cork full forward line. And in particular for the Cork kickouts, he's picking up a position in or around the left side of midfield.
At the moment, it is Tomas O'Shea who's picking him out. The two managers with a big task on their hands this afternoon. Alan Quirk straight down the centre. Touched by Derek Cavan initially, but won back by the very industrious Seamus Scanlon. Now Killian Young. Inside towards Donaghy. Knocks it down. They wait for it. Brian Sheehan trying to get onto it, but it's John Miskela instead. Graham Canty has it. Looks around. Plays it securely to Conor McCarthy. Good backup support there from Ger Spillane. They set away with John Miskela. Coming back, Kevin McMahon. Many players foraging. Now the quick release inside to Donegal O'Connor. As Masters forward as a colleague. Needs support. Gets it from Conor McCarthy. Derek Kavanagh. Kerry get a chance to get their players back. The break wasn't quickly enough done by Cork. They hold it, however. That's Masters. High up into the air. Fisted away there from Declan O'Sullivan. And the referee saw another foul, and the notebook is shown this time to Mark O'Shea. Well, the referee has been busy showing the cards. They're all black cards so far. This is where O'Shea was coming out and pushing Donegal O'Connor down. Chance then for Cork to tie it up here. And once again, it's going to be the Ballydesmond player who will take it.
Yeah, I think because there's a local derby, David Coldrick is actually having a zero tolerance approach to fouling at the moment. Any niggle at all or any slight foul or half foul is being blown by the referee.
Well, 1 from 1 so far for the number 15. This to level the game. He's done exactly that. He's certainly on his game. All of Cork's scores so far coming from place balls. We've only had 1 point in the match so far from play, and that was the number 6 of Kerry, Aidan O'Mahony.
Yeah, neither forward line is getting much space at the moment. The emphasis is on defending from both sides, or from both teams, and again, space is at a premium out there, Ger.
It'll loosen out eventually. Diarmuid Murphy. Kick to the centre. Again, there's a push, bit of pushing. Free to Cork, who have the majority of possession so far, it would appear. Declan O'Sullivan cutting inside, getting it onto the right and back. Paul Galvin, and Paul Galvin puts it to the left. It was a good chance.
Yeah, very good chance that time from Paul Galvin. Had more time than he realised, but at the moment the Kerry forwards are very nervous. They're not settling in the game at all. The two big guys, neither Donaghy nor Cooper, are managing to get into the game, and just, you know, both teams are taking a long time to settle.
Well, Well, it's interesting that so far, in terms of scoring chances created, Kerry have been doing better, creating 6 scoring chances to Cork's 3. For the Whites, 3 for the Kingdom. Scanlon, back in, the goalkeeper comes, he misses, and it's in the back of the net, and it's Colin Cooper! A goal at 3 points in the 17th minute. It should have been a goalkeeper's ball, you would feel, when it was played in invitingly by Seamus Scanlon, but the Gooch got there first and put in his 12th championship goal, and Kerry lead 1-3 to 3 points.
Also simple indeed. Alan Quirk will certainly look back on that with a lot of regret. Shouldn't have come out that time. The back was Cooper was well covered by the defender, but go back out to the kick-out before that. The kick-out was won very simply around the midfield in order that the ball was delivered into Cooper in the first place.
Well, I'm certain that the one thing that Billy said to his team is don't give away goals easily to Kerry. Conor McCarthy down towards Masters, getting there ahead of Padraig Reedy, causing a few problems for the number 4, and he's got a noting as well. The black card was flashed in his direction. What a boost that is for Pat O'Shea's team.
Yeah, and funny enough, a moment before that we've been talking about how little Cooper was in the game, but again that time there was no communication whatsoever between Quirk and Kieran O'Connor. I think it was Kieran O'Connor at the time was on Cooper, and again it was a goal that Cork will look back on with great regret.
Masters is going to hit this. It was mentioned before the game that Cork didn't have a lot of height in that full back line apart from Graham Canty. Maybe the goalkeeper felt, I have to come out and try and get it. Masters, 1 so far, and he's put it wide. Big miss.
Yeah, they needed an immediate response actually to that Kerry goal. That was a bad miss, and again to miss a free like that on your own side is something that shouldn't happen. There was the ball, one clean, I think it was by Owen Brosnan again. Scanlon delivered a ball, hopeful, into the edge of the right into the middle of the penalty area, and again Cooper took it very well.
Well, if the goalkeeper's going to come for that, he's really got to get it. Here's Reedy. Tomas O'Shea. Played forward once again here. Killian Young loves to attack. An incisive ball across here to Kieran Donaghy. Back in towards Cooper. Causing problems from Kieran O'Connor again, and O'Connor's in real trouble, and so are Cork. It's a goal and 2 points now for Colin Cooper. Kerry 1-4, Cork 3 points, and the Kingdom fans absolutely enjoying this opening quarter of the match. 3 chances he's got, 1 from a free, 1 goal from a punch, and now from play. He steals in past Kieran O'Connor, and that matchup is in difficult. Straight away you can see it.
That was absolutely devastating again by Cooper, who will be disappointed actually that he didn't put that in the net. But again, the quality, the low ball that time that went into Donaghy caught the Cork defence off guard. And again, Donaghy's understanding with Cooper really manifested itself.
Cusson punching it on this time. 1 back again by Kerry. Many of the loose balls, the breaks have been picked up in the centre of the park by the tough, hard-working Kerry men, led by Tomas O'Shea, but this time foul committed, free to Cork. So rocky spell for the Rebels right now, beaten in the Munster final, of course. They need to remain calm, focused, pick off a few scores. That's in towards Donaghy O'Connor, and he's got a thump into the back that time by Tomas O'Shea, who hasn't been noted so far, but he has now.
Yeah, that was very much a deliberate foul. Again, it was the movement of the Cork forward line that time, the crisscrossing of them that they went on with the caught Kerry defence off guard, and again he gave away an unnecessary free.
4 of the 6 backs for Kerry now have had a black card already shown. This a much easier kick for James Masters, and this to put 3 points between the teams again. He's got it. Clipped over with ease. 1-4 to 4 points. James Masters second today, which means his tally for the season so far is 3 goals and 29 points. Good going.
Yeah, and I think the thing we've seen so far, 21 minutes gone, all the scores from Cork have come from frees. They're finding it very difficult to get room from the Kerry defence to get scores from play.
That's fisted away again into the centre of the park. This is free to be taken here by Tomas O'Shea. Inside towards Donaghy. Looking to turn this way and that, almost taking too much out of it, then getting in the solo before Nicholas Murphy can come in. Declan O'Sullivan holding it up. Again, a probing ball in there. Brosnan's about. He spells danger usually. And in the end, it is Paul Galvin who kicks, and that is over the bar. Good point by Paul Galvin, who used to teach in Cork City, now teaches in Killarney. And Brosnan was in there. He's such a great goal record for Kerry in championship football. This time it fell to Galvin. He wasn't going to miss. 4 between them again.
Yeah, one of the things you notice actually is that in all of those scores that Cork have got, or that Kerry have got from playing the last while, Graham Canty's been absent. He's been drawn out of the side quite a bit. As a result, the gap and the absence of a big man is absent in the full back line.
Let's go down to Marty.
Well, while there's good news in terms of the scoreboard for Kerry, Pat O'Shea, the manager, is a little bit annoyed with his defence. He's sent down a water boy deliberately down to his full back line, telling them to stop fouling and get in front of their men every single time.
Canty is now on Gooch. Donaghy's been marked by Michael Shields. He's got it, and he can't steer it on target, and he goes to the referee immediately and appeals that he was being fouled. They all appeal for a penalty. The referee is having nothing of it.
Well,
Hops up.
I definitely think he's a case in point that time again. Donaghy won the ball cleanly that time and was dragged to the ground, and actually I think Coldrick, should have called for a penalty.
Let's have a look at it again here. Here he is going by. Michael Shields is his marker.
Yes, he's
been dragged down. Well, let's have a look, see how much of a drag it really was.
He certainly pulls him by the jersey there. And just at that point, he released the shot, but I thought it should have been a penalty.
I think the referee had a look at it and said, yeah, he had an arm on him, but I'm not sure that he said there was any downward pressure. I think that may be how the referee read it.
Well, that's how the referee read it, but I definitely think the jersey pulled up.
No penalty was given anyway. And it's Darragh O'Shea, and this is a great spell for Kerry. 4 points to the good, leading by double scores, and the Gooch has it again. New marker is Graham Canty onto his left-hand side, and that one has gone to the right of the goal. 5th wide now for Kerry.
There's a lot of areas leaking for Cork at the moment. Again, Canty has gone over now, and Cooper, as you say. Again, Michael Shields is marking Kieran Donaghy. Both of them are struggling with their respective duels.
Well, the kick-outs so far have been very poor from Cork's point of view. They've varied it between short and long. They've only won 5 of the 10 so far.
That's right, and they've gone orthodox again, and Cousin has gone into the full forward position, and again Tomas O'Shea is marking him at the moment.
Cousin's back down at full forward, so it's Cork kicks. A lot of big tall men in the centre of the bar. Oh, there was a push there, I thought, by Darragh O'Shea on Nicholas Murphy. Anyway, Pierce O'Neill has it. He's fouled, free to Cork. Conor McCarthy to take. Here's Ger Spillane. Stealing away well here from Declan O'Sullivan. Not easy to do. Dished off as far as Masters. Has come very, very deep. Good block that time. Taken down well. O'Sullivan getting it forward. Reedy with the free kick. Comes to Galvin. Kerry fans urging him on. Masters is picking him up. It's a very strange situation. Cross here towards Colin Cooper. Gooch does well to keep it in play. Skipping away from the attentions of Graham Canty. Inside towards Donaghy once again. Shields his marker. Not able to get near him. Easy one for Quirk. Quick change of direction. And Noel O'Leary setting off this time. Ger Spillane taking the shoulder there from Donaghy. Oh, McCarthy back into McMahon once again. The raiding wing forward is going through the centre. And that in the end is Nicholas Murphy, fouled there by Brian Sheehan. A lot happening in the game. Kieran O'Connor. Cork come looking for scores. Donnacha O'Connor trying to nip inside. McCarthy back once again towards McMahon. Lobbed in towards Cusson. catching it well, just as he did in Killarney, and just as he did in Killarney, he puts it over the bar. First point of the match for Michael Cusson. First time he's got a high ball in there to test his aerial superiority against the Kerry full back line. It's 1-5 to 5 points. This was a Michael Cusson special. Beautiful point.
Yeah, beautiful delivery though into him in the first place, and again the defender wasn't able to get up on him again. Hudson showed a lot of reassurance and a lot of confidence in putting that over, but again in that attack prior to that, I thought the Cork attack were going nowhere with it. They seemed to be going over and back. They need that outlet of the long ball into Cousins more often. It's
taken Cork nearly 27 minutes to get a first point from play. From the kick out, Scanlon takes, is fouled. This is the 30th free of the match so far, and we're only in the 28th minute. Says an awful lot. It's quite a commentary on the match so far. Canty to Jers Milan. Alan Quirk. Here comes Shields. Won an under-21 medal with Cork this year, looking for a double. Bit of a tall order at this stage, goal between them. Kerry looking the better side. The ticking this time for Brian Sheehan. Just going through my notepad, I think that's 7 Kerry players who've been ticked in the match by the referee. Here's Donnacha O'Connor, letting it off towards Cusson once again. Tom O'Sullivan's after him. Release back here to Conor McCarthy, handling with difficulty 2 Kerry players there. Spills back out again, booted away by Mark O'Shea. Picked up by Derek Kavanagh with difficulty again. Stolen brilliantly here. This is Declan O'Sullivan, the Kerry captain. And O'Sullivan fouled in possession, free to the kingdom. Beautifully away. Slide rule pass as far as Colin Cooper. Quick look around then to see the movement ahead of him. Canty tries to prevent his progress. Referee is no more than a yard away. Said no foul, play on. Brosnan does. Heat taken out of that one before it can get to Michael Shields. Kicked away as far as Derek Kavanagh. A goal between them. We're to the 29th minute of the All-Ireland football final. All the way down, stopped here by Pádraig Reedy. It's heating up now quite considerably. Here comes Aidan O'Mahony. Nicely outside. Paul Galvin, point so far in the match. Again, he looks around. Good support play available to him. It's from Aidan O'Mahony. Loves to raid. Fancying his chances of a second. It's going to drop short for Alan Quirk to take. And out as far as John Miskela. Well, you really have to take your chances in a match of this high class, because you're going to be punished. The opposition get the ball and a chance to work it down into an attacking situation. Here's Pierce O'Neill. Derek Kavanagh. Going long. Trying one. It's a perceptive ball down. It was Kieran O'Connor who was up with the attack, and he was fouled. Seamus Scanlon is ticked for his troubles. Scanlon keeping an eye on the arm and the jersey of the number 4 of Cork. Down they went. O'Connor first. Scanlon ticked. Free to Cork.
Yeah, and kind of Cork at the moment, they were grouped very well, and again they're trying their style of controlling the tempo of the game over the last 5 minutes or so, and again they're just keeping possession very well, and there's a lot more rhythm and an awful lot more composure coming into the game that we had seen earlier.
What would Billy makes of Kieran O'Connor rating like that? He's got a couple of points in this year's championship. Well, there he is with a defensive job to do, and still he's prepared to run and run to try and get into an attacking part of the field. Masters with the free. 2 so far. Miss 1. This to put 2 between them. Straight over the bar. 1-5. That's 8 points for Kerry. 6 for Cork. Half an hour gone.
Yeah, half an hour gone. A lot of fouling, a lot of untidy play earlier on. There's an awful lot more rhythm to the game at the moment. An awful lot more clear thinking down there at the moment. But again, amazingly, not a yellow card kind.
Well, the rain coming once again, and those in the unprotected areas, well, having to reach for the shelter or whatever they can. Anything whatsoever. Max, coats, anything at all. Caps, brollies. That's going to be a line ball in spite of the protestations there of Tomas O'Shea, who knows Cork very well. He's been teaching there for a long, long time. James Masters to take the sideline ball. This time It's O'Shea who got out there. Mark O'Shea got there as well. And in the end, the ball has gone off one of the backs, they decide, although Mark O'Shea seemed to hit it off an attacker. And in the end, the umpire says, you know something? Got it right. Let's have a look at it again and see what exactly happened here. Tom O'Sullivan in difficulty, and it came there off Donegal O'Connor, and the umpire and referee finally got it right.
The referee, to be fair, saw it as it correctly from the word go, and again overruled his umpire.
Dermot Murphy ready to kick this ball out. 32-year-old goalkeeper who had to bide his time before making the number one position on the Kerry team his own. Another push. This time the referee has spotted it. Darragh O'Shea gets the notebook. It's happened before. He got away with it the first time against Nicholas Murphy. Here's James Masters taking on Paul Rigreedy. Masters will need to get an angle. Hasn't any at the moment. Trying to make one. Jerspillane outside of the boot. That's going to drop short, and there's a player in the square. It was Cosson, free out, quickly taken. Out as far as Scanlon. Declan O'Sullivan now to Kerry. Great control. Fine young player from South Kerry. Fouled by Donegal O'Connor this time, and he's shown the notebook. Into space, rather aimless. Gooch coming. Won by Miskell. Taken away here by Conor McCarthy. Down as far as another wing forward, Kevin McMahon. Got that goal in the second half against Meath. Runs away from him. He was looking one way. Lost his concentration. Lost possession to Aidan O'Mahony. O'Mahony looking around. Coming from a deep position, Tom O'Sullivan. Here's Seamus Scanlon. Again, controlled well by Declan O'Sullivan. Tomas O'Shea. 11 minutes since Kerry have scored in this match. They'll be worried about that. O'Shea outside to Donaghy, who peels away from his man, who is Michael Shields, in around the top of the left position at this stage, having a go, very ambitious. The other players will let him know, I think, what they thought of that one, because they've just given the possession away to Cork, who can now counter-attack.
Yeah, and they've lost their shape completely in the Kerry forward line. That's the second or third time the ball has been dropped into Alan Quirke's hand, and Cork are very, very good at building a counter-attack from their own goal mark.
Michael Shields getting it as far as Derek Kavanagh. Controlled well here by Paul Rigreedy. Nice play. Tomas O'Shea again. Held on to here by Colin Cooper, the Gooch. Trying to steal a march there on Jerspillane. Thought about it, getting it on the left, very much a two-footed player. And that has gone wide. Umpires had a little look at it. I think the man on the left, as I'm looking at it, looked across at the man on the right, and they decided between them it had gone wide. Let's have a look at it from another angle here.
Yeah, Cooper turned Jerspillane very well that time. Will be disappointed with his final effort, even though it's on his weaker right foot. He should have scored that one, and he knows it. But again, just going back to it, the Cork defence seems to have got to grips with the Kerry attack at the moment. Kerry attack has lost a lot of its shape, and again, Cork are in the ascendancy over the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game.
Well, the scoring chances that have been created so far are very interesting, because Kerry have been doing much, much better. They have created 15 scoring chances, taken 6 with their goal and 5 points. Cork have created just 8 scoring chances, 6 points for them. 1 minute of injury time now being played. Rain pouring down. It's collected here by Brian Sheehan. Forward for Tomas O'Shea. Remember the goal he got in the 2005 final against Tyrone? He'd love a point here. And he has got one. Good score by Tomas O'Shea. And a goal the margin once again. The goal after 17 minutes by Colin Cooper, separating these teams. But look at the amount of space that Tomas O'Shea was given. Nicholas Murphy trying to close him down, never quite got there.
He's such a natural footballer, again, so comfortable off either foot. Again, he was very perceptive that time in breaking forward, taking a good pass off Sheehan, and again firing an inspirational point. They needed that.
Just a few more seconds then remaining in this first half. Seamus Scanlon, what a good first half he's played. Again, an opportunity for Killian Young to hold, to take, feeding Brian Sheehan. Again, stealing inside here, good run, good upper body strength. Knew when to lay it off as well as far as Colin Cooper. This time the provider, Galvin, I think was his intended recipient. Never quite reached him because Galvin was looking one way, the ball was going the other. That's Conor McCarthy, challenged hard. Pierce O'Neill. yet to make a major impression on this game. Graham Canty, Michael Shields. Cork with just 6 points in the first half, only one of them coming from play. Here's another chance now to Donegal O'Connor in stoppage time. Players calling for him to lay it off. He was taking his time about making his mind up, held on too long, and the referee in the end decides time up, end of the first half. And it is Kerry who are happier going in at the break. Colm Cooper's goal after 17 minutes, when that ball was punted in by Seamus Scanlon. There was a defender and the goalkeeper coming to challenge him, but Cooper got there first. James Masters got 3 points for Cork. They were all from frees. They have a lot of talking to do. There's a lot of improving to do as well if they are to take the Sam Maguire Cup home. At the moment, it's as the experts had predicted. Kerry are leading in the All-Ireland final. It's Kerry 1-6, Cork 6 points. We'll be right back.
Seem to be happy to sit back and defend it.
Well, I think that Kerry, Pat O'Shea must, I can only imagine, Pat O'Shea must have decided that they were going to lose the midfield exchanges because Cork have been so excellent in that area all year long. So he decided to put together, have a very defensive game plan. I mean, for most of the match, Kerry have had 2 forwards in this half of the field and nothing more than that. And so, contrary to expectation, Kerry have won every ball around the middle of the field. Cork have won one.
Looking at the stats there.
Cork have won one kick out. One kick out in the match. The other one was a short kick out. But aside from that, Kerry have obliterated them there.
And 37 frees in 36 minutes and 37
the
minutes.
reason that Kerry aren't putting their superiority in their scoreboard is because they've only got 2 forwards up and they should be pressing on and attacking. This game plan's all right if you're being beaten around the middle of the field. But when you're winning hands down, I mean, Declan O'Sullivan hasn't been seen because he's been in his defensive area. Nicholas Murphy hasn't touched the ball for Cork. He hasn't actually touched the ball. So I mean, Kerry need to change their...
Well, there's no doubt the only place that it's a contest is on the scoreboard. Like, Kerry should be out of sight, twice as many scoring chances, and they have managed to mess up a lot of the good play. Even the Gooch, has had a couple of uncharacteristic wides when he made plenty of room for himself.
But however, the Gooch has been the difference between the two sides in that first half.
For the first I thought he had died and gone to heaven here with the way that he was playing early on. He flicks in the goal and he kicks over a point nonchalantly, and then,
And he meant it. It was a beautiful, beautiful flick.
Yes, so the goalie now is in no man's land, gets caught, 7 or 8 yards out of goal. He should have left it to his back there. If a goalie comes, he has to win it. But Gooch, sensing everything about where he was, the presence of the goalie, the back, it's not by chance that he scores goals continually like that.
And he's brave, not a thought to his own personal safety, And I mean, it was beautifully done. As Colm says, he clocks everything around him, and he really is a thing of beauty. At one stage he kicked a wide, but it was worth the admission price to watch that wide.
This was the points that he added onto it then.
Yeah, well,
4 points gap in the space of a couple of minutes from the Gooch.
At the start, well then this should have been a goal as well, and he was thinking of a goal. It's just put too high, but Cork had Kieran O'Connor on him, which was a very bad decision at the start. Subsequent to that,
and he's a strong wee devil too, Cooper. He stayed on his feet in spite of the fact your man was trying to wrestle him to the ground.
They've put Canty now on Gooch and put Michael Shields on Donaghy. Both of them are winning practically anything, but as Joe was saying, Kerry are a little bit defensive. When Cork get the
copying their northern
Cork, when they get the ball, then have nowhere to go with because there's so many Kerry men behind the ball. But the Cork forward line wiped out 1 point from play.
Yeah, that's 1 point from play. So Michael Cusson, one ball that ballooed into him when he caught it.
Well, look, the blueprint for Cork is to move the ball to Cusson and edge the square because first of all he's got a huge height advantage, and secondly Tom O'Sullivan's making the fatal error of trying to compete with him in the air, which means, well, just watch it. It's a classic example. O'Sullivan goes up with him. It's positively comical, and that happened in the Munster final. That's the first time that the ball's been kicked into him. James Masters might as well be sitting out on the subs bench in the match. Cork are getting no change whatever. Donoghue O'Connor's trying, but there are just so many Kerry bodies back, it's impossible to play against. It looks like Tyrone 2 years ago. But the problem for Kerry is that they're not pushing on. That would be all very well if Cork were if it was tit for tat. But they're keeping Cork in the game by adopting the tactics.
Cousins' opposite number, Kieran Donaghy, hasn't got on the scoreboard, but he surely had a penalty claim.
Well, if the referee was being consistent, and because there's a whole heap of easy frees out the field, if he was being consistent in giving frees,
you know, he was being pulled back there by Shields. You know, it's very plain. When you know, you can see here now the jersey being pulled just as he's about. No, it's a blatant penalty, and the ref was giving them out the field and didn't give it in there. And Sheehan should have had a penalty earlier. The same thing, his jersey being pulled back. So, you know, it's hard to give a penalty. It's easy to give a free in the middle of the field.
We were just before that happened. We were just discussing it. You know, the referee's the sort of fellow. He's given 7 soft frees that, in my view, weren't frees at all. But they were uncontroversial. You know, we just soft frees. But when it comes to one where you have to put your money where your mouth is, you know, I thought he just ducked out of that penalty award.
Okay, we have another commercial break coming up. More right after that on today's All-Ireland football final. Of the Sunday game. Now that programme will feature highlights and analysis of both of today's finals. We'll be visiting the Winners' Hotel from the senior final, naming our man of the match from the game, and also getting the panel to pick their football team of the year. 9:30 here on this channel. Well, now earlier this afternoon at half-time in the All-Ireland Minor Football Final, a number of school children from around the country, including Cork and Kerry, were taking part in Common na Munsco. No doubt enjoying the big day here at Croke Park and their appearance out there on the pitch. And indeed, speaking of young GA players, a new DVD called the GA Fun to Do Learning Resource Pack will provide coaches of all levels with the tools to enable young players from nursery age right up to the end of primary school level to learn the basic skills of hurling and football. For more information, just log on there to www.gaa.ie. Well, back now to the big match of the day. Martin Morrissey is down pitch side right now, and he's talking to 2 stars of Gaelic football, 2 players who, I'm sure, would love to be here playing for the county on such a big day.
I have no doubt about that, Michael. 82,126 people here in Croke Park this afternoon, and 2 of the stars of the 2007 championship, Damien Freeman, captain of Monaghan, and Eamon O'Hara of Sligo. Damien, what do you make of the first half?
It's at the minute it's a poor game, Marty. You know what I mean? Neither team is taking control of it. You know, Kerry has a lot of opportunities there for scores, but they're not just taking their chances there at the minute.
Donaghy and Gooch seem to be the major threat.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of possession in there. They're actually causing the Cork full back line a lot of problems. But then products, as I say, you know, they're only 3 points ahead at the moment, and there should be a lot more.
Let me move on to Eamon O'Hara. You played midfield most of the time for Sligo. Cork seem to be in trouble there.
Yeah, they're struggling big time there. Dara O'Shea is completely controlling it from Nicholas Murphy and Dara Kelvin. You know, Cork need to change it. They really do need to change it. Customers coming out, but they've seen Kerry seem to be bringing out Sheehan to Tamara Kim. So it is very much a crowded area, but you know, Kerry are completely on top in that area.
Would you make that change, Eamon? Bring Michael Cusson out to midfield, crowd midfield?
I think so. You know what I mean? You need to put a few more fellas inside. Just drive the ball in. They need to get the ball into the forward line. If they don't, they're going to lose this, and Kerry are going to go home with All Ireland.
Damien, you played against Kerry and heartbreakingly lost in the quarter-final. Do you think they're going to go through and win this All Ireland?
I think they are. I think you know, the bench is very strong. You know, you have Sean O'Sullivan, Darren O'Sullivan, Mike Frank, Russell, who get on any team in the country, and I think that's going to be the telling factor in the end of the game. And I expect Kerry to go on and win it by 3 or 4 points.
Well, they're the views of Eamon O'Hara and Damien Freeman. Thank you very much, Les, for joining us. Let's go back to the studio and Michael.
And indeed, I'm going to pick up with a panel on just some of those comments. The middle of the field, Cork not dominating Cullenbrook the way they were hoping to do, because they're bunching the game up in the middle of the field.
Yeah, well, Kerry are winning all the breaks. Seamus Scanlon has been very good for Kerry, and Aidan O'Mahony has been very powerful. Like, the Kerry fellas have great upper body strength. And Tomás O'Shea and Killian Young, they've been coming through at pace, and they're able to burst through the tackles and then set up the attacks. But, you know, I think a proper score is 1-4 from play for Kerry, 1 point from Cork, which I think reflects just about the course of the game.
I was talking to a Kerry man earlier on today, and he was saying, you know, the Kerry couldn't do this year the kind of thing that they were doing last year. The simple game, Kieran Donaghy and pumping the ball in, either himself or Gooch would get it. That wasn't going to work for them. It's working.
Well, I mean, it works to an extent.
It's their ploy anyway.
But you know, the difficulty is that there's just too big a gap between the rest of the players and the 2 forwards, who are very, very isolated, and a lot of very hopeful stuff's being kicked in. I mean, Donaghy took that catch. It was an absolutely stupendous catch. I mean, Cooper's goal, well, the keeper should have stayed in his line. But if Kerry are going to leave them isolated like that, they're on 2 good players. Now, Canty and Seals are good players, and the ball's going to have to be right. I mean, I suspect now that Kerry are going to start pushing on a bit more, because as things stand, you know, it's a poor pure quality game of football, which Cork will be delighted with because if it was good quality, they'd probably be about 10 points behind. And, you know, the longer the game goes on in that vein, the more of an opportunity Cork will have. I totally disagree with Eamon O'Hara about Cusson, because Cusson's the only outlet they have, and they need to keep it on the edge of the square, but they need to start ticking it to him because there's absolutely nothing else that's working. And the only way to beat the blanket defence is to do what Armagh do, kick it over the top of it to the edge of the square.
And Kerry have the characteristic of Kerry for all the championship has been a nearly second half blitz. They did it against Cork in the Munster final, and they did it against Dublin. You know, they come out and try and put a team away in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the second half. To do that, they need Donaghy now to position himself in front of the goals, because Shields is now on him, and let Gooch bring Canty, who would be the main defender, bring him away from in front of the goals.
Down the other side of the field, Daniel Goulding is coming on for James Masters in the Cork team. Hardly a surprise.
It's not a surprise. Like the gamble of playing Masters, who's been out of action with a broken jaw, just absolutely, totally backfired. He tried to get a few scores early on, kicked balls up in the air. I thought Goulding should have been on from the start anyway.
Probably put too much pressure on James Masters, you know. I mean, it was a bad injury. You know, you look at, I mean, the Kerry backs are very pacey, very athletic, extremely ruthless. They all tackle very hard. As Colin says, they burst through, they hit hard with their shoulder. A very, very mean defence, and not the place for a fella who's coming in, been out for 7 weeks, no competitive game. And no matter how much you're going well in the training and all of that, it's a different world.
No, absolutely different world. And the pace of the Kerry fellas coming out, just James Masters' strength is not his pace. You know, he gets easy points all right.
Would Cork chance Anthony Lynch at some stage, do you think?
Well,
attacking wing back sort of.
Yeah,
a broken hand.
He's an awful loss. I suppose a broken hand shouldn't keep you out of an All-Ireland final, really. You know, something as minor as that. But the boys say that he's had an operation, had a few pins. But you know, at this stage, you know, if it was,
I don't know if you're joking or not.
No, I'm absolutely not joking. You know, you only get a chance to play in an All-Ireland final once. You can have the pins put back in tomorrow.
On the other hand, people like Paul Galvin here, they've played well, but Kerry have squandered a few chances as well. Now, he took a fantastic point, I know, but they squandered a few chances as well.
But they haven't missed anything easy. You know, they're kicking from distance and they're kicking under pressure because they're running the ball from deep. You know, Cork have an opportunity to get back into defence and get into position, and you know, it's very difficult to penetrate them.
Yeah.
You know, that's the big problem. I mean, the tactical formation's wrong for Kerry. They expected Cork to win some ball around the middle of the field.
They need Declan O'Sullivan to get more forward to support Gooch and Donaghy.
Well, that's the view of the panel here of Joe and Colin up in the studio. As you can see, teams back out on the pitch. Let's take you back to the big match commentary now. Ger Canning and Martin Carney.
And there is Daniel Goulding, who has just come back into the championship team. His 6th appearance into his first All-Ireland senior final just before the start of the second half. Hello to Mary Newman, who's a patient in the CUH in Cork. Get well soon. And to honeymooners, Niall Hegarty and his new wife Vivian in New York watching. There's a final to be won here. Start of the second half. 3 points the margin, and straight away it's Seamus Scanlon, and he's done so often in this game, winning possession to Molso Shea, down towards Donahue, who lets it spill. Michael Shields, big task for him, keeping tabs on Donaghy. Donaghy hasn't scored so far. His scoring record isn't great in this year's championship anyway, but he does create havoc, and he's creating havoc here, and he's got an open goal. Oh, what a gift that is. He burgled the ball, put it into the back of the Cork net in the first minute of the second half, and Kerry lead by 2 clear goals. What happened here? It was stolen and put in the back of the net. Ger Spillane, the one who lost possession, had his hands picked this time, his pockets picked, and Donaghy let fly, couldn't miss from there, and Kerry lead by 2-6. To 6 points.
That's absolutely criminal from a Cork point of view. Overpassing the ball across your own goals. Canty put Spillane under enormous pressure. To be fair to Donaghy, Donaghy came in, robbed him, and had an easy chance to put it into an empty net.
That's the 3rd goal that Donaghy has scored in the championship. And immediately it's the Gooch setting off once again, held in possession. And Graham Canty once again getting himself into a little bit of trouble. A ticking here, but that is a disastrous start for the second half for Cork.
And you know, a little bit like the semi-final against Dublin, they scored a goal with their first attack against Dublin in the All-Ireland semi-final. Again against Cork in the Munster final, they scored 1-5 without reply in the first 15 minutes of the second half. But that was absolutely ridiculous defensive play. They were in control, played the ball across. Cork went out to try and actually take the pass from Spillane. And what a mess up.
And Brian Sheehan turns it around into a 4-point early second half advantage for Kerry. His second pointed free. 2-7 all of a sudden for Kerry, 6 points for Cork. And you know, when you think about that steal again by Donaghy, you wonder, because of his basketball skills, how well and how easily he was able to dispossess Ger Spillane.
That's true, and again, probably the basketball skills coming to the fore there. But again, this is asking an awful lot of Cork now. I thought they were actually quite well in it in the first half. I disagree with the panel actually in many respects, but this is now a mountain for them to climb.
And again, it is Thomas O'Shea. Killian Young. Kerry lording it. Again, it is Paul Galvin getting there ahead of John Miskela. Into space. This time sealed off by Noel O'Leary. Derek Kavanagh. Again, it is Conor McCarthy. Well, what can they do about the 7 points they trail at this stage? Nothing with that particular kick by McMahon. Was a very poor one. Comes back out as far as Seamus Scanlon. Thomas O'Shea now. O'Mahony. Kerry players and Kerry fans were saying this was a final they daren't lose. Donaghy once again. That one won't curl sufficiently for him. Wide of the target. Kickouts taken very, very quickly. John Miskela. Then losing his concentration, stealing away. Possession was Seamus Scanlon, the gooch picking it up. Cooper to turn inside. Inside and out he goes against Michael Shield. Scanlon stayed forward, and that's over the bar. Well, they say he doesn't score an awful lot, Seamus Scanlon, but on a day when everything is going right for Kerry at this stage in the match, he took the pass from the gooch, got it onto the right boot, looked very confident there. Just his third ever point in championship football.
Yeah, good score by Scanlon. Missed a lot in the semi-final against Dublin, but certainly Kerry must think Christmas has come early, actually, 3 months early, because that again has been a gift of a second half start from Cork to Kerry. Couldn't have been worse from a Cork point of view, just fabulous from a Kerry point of view.
Second time for Pat O'Shea to take a team to the All-Ireland final this year. Remember, he was here in the club final back on St. Patrick's Day. It ended level on that occasion. Here's Michael Cusson. Well, he has come out around midfield at this stage just to get the ball, and they lose it. That was stolen by Owen Brosnan. He's got it back again, thanks to Declan O'Sullivan. Now, Colm Cooper. O'Sullivan next to him. Pass not the best, however. Held out there by Conor McCarthy. Back in towards O'Sullivan again. Kerry threatening to run riot. Comes down off the post and over the bar. And Kerry fans everywhere are absolutely delighted with the way things have panned out here. Declan O'Sullivan, the captain, first kick at the target, first point as well. Cork haven't managed to get going in the second half. 5 minutes are gone, and that's a lovely point by O'Sullivan.
Yeah, we've often talked about blitzkrieg in the context of history, but certainly this has been a Kerry blitzkrieg at the start of the second half.
There are going to be 2 changes made by Cork. Anthony Lynch is going to come on, and coming on as well is Fintan Gould. There's Fintan Gould, one of the stars of the under-21 campaign earlier in the year. Anthony Lynch comes on for John Miskela. And Kevin McMahon is the other player who's going off. Fintan Gould has come on for him. So disappointment for McMahon. Had such a good semi-final, but it hasn't gone well for Cork. Alan Quirk's kick to the centre of the park. Again, it's fielded spectacularly by Dara O'Shea. Loses his way somewhat, but still gets enough purchase on it. And then there's a foul. Fintan Gould thinking about taking it himself. Attention may be required by Dara O'Shea. And immediately the physio comes out. Megan Gooding there, along with Dr. Dave Gainey, who's also one of the selectors. I remember he had a lot of injury problems in the last couple of matches, but he had a very good first half.
I think he was just glad of a little bit of a breather that time after taking a belt, and again has taken a little bit of the sting out of whatever comeback Cork might have had.
Well, whatever game plan Cork had coming into this final, they've had to change it around fairly dramatically. They still have time if they're good enough. They've a lot to do, a long way to go. Conor McCarthy overhitting the pass towards Anthony Lynch. Galvin nipping in instead. And away come Kerry once again with Brian Sheehan. One forward to aim at down there. That's the gooch. Colin Cooper in against Graham Canty. Exploiting the space. And off the post. And that's the second one that's gone off the post for Kerry. And it's Colin Cooper now with a goal and 3. Terrific shooting.
Absolutely devastating counter-attack that time. Again, a beautiful use of possession by the Kerry attacker with the far wing. And again, Cooper that time had done he completely on his own had he spotted him, but had the confidence to shoot over a delightful point for a very awkward angle, just clipping off the inside of the post, as we can see there.
8 minutes are gone in the second half. Kerry so far have got 1 goal and 4 points. Cork haven't even got a shot at the goal.
And actually Brian Sheehan is playing out as a third midfielder at the moment, which is making it more difficult again for Cork to find space out there.
Killian Young feeding it forward for Paul Galvin. Ahead by Scanlon this time to the raiding Tomas O'Shea. He's got 1 so far. Going after him is Pierce O'Neill. Kicking it in. It's a very ambitious one. It's to the right. And he's missed his opportunity. But at least it keeps the ball down that end of the field. He'd love to have scored another point while Kerry are in the ascendancy, but they're doing so well in this final.
Yeah, and Cork are devoid of ideas at the moment. They have been shell-shocked by that start that Kerry have got at the beginning of the second half. No player is able to get on possession at the moment and make use of it. Again, there's an absence of leadership out there.
Well, as he consults with Gerard Sullivan, Billy Morgan's just considering, 2 defensive mistakes, 2 goals conceded. And Pat O'Shea can scarcely believe the second one in particular was such a Christmas gift coming in the month of September. Here's Nicholas Murphy. Hasn't dominated as he was expected to do. But then you could say that about quite a few of the colleagues as well. Reading, second time of asking, going, taking it, pursued by several Cork men. Fintan Gould's after him. The referee has blown his whistle and he's signalling a free into Cork. And Fintan Gould and his colleague will take anything that is going. Pádraig Reedy was ticked already, so the referee is going to call back the number 4. And this is probably going to be the first yellow card of the match, coming in the 45th minute.
Yeah, I thought he might have been actually given the free in a couple of moments earlier than that. He thought he fouled the ball as he came in high in the first place.
It'll be Donncha O'Connor who will take it. Kerry are winning this match by 10 points, and fans will think back of the other semi-finals. This is a final, but the semi-finals were Kerry also dominated by big, wide margins. Now the margin is down to 9. Donncha O'Connor with the first shot of the second half for Cork in this game, and a point for him, a third. They're all coming from frees. And that's the head-to-head there, as you can see. Colin Cooper doing better, goal and 3.
Well, certainly if Cork get back into this, they need to get a grip around the middle of the field. They need to get direct ball into Cousins. And again, the 2 corner forwards, Daniel Goulding and Donncha O'Connor, need to come in, but goals are going to be vital for them and get them very quickly.
Well, that point by Donncha O'Connor was the first in 15 minutes of play that Cork have managed to score. Noel O'Leary tigerishly taking it, but again, the pressure from Kerry, the composed play of Brian Sheehan, class in key areas, lots of endeavour for Cork. Here's O'Connor, fouled as he was taking it out. But class is counting in this final so far, even though Kerry did get a couple of fortunate breaks. But you make your own luck, I suppose, in this level of football as well. Kevin O'Sullivan is going to be coming on very shortly for Conor McCarthy. And that is the 4th substitution that Billy Morgan has been forced to make.
Yeah, again, Conor McCarthy didn't make any impact on the game today. Again, he was a surprise inclusion maybe in the first place. And again, as you've repeatedly said in the commentary today, Ger, it's bad enough playing Kerry and, trying to compete to them on an even footing. But again, when you gift them scores like they did, it's just ridiculous. Again, Donaghy that time took a belt in the face, accidental it must be said, from Michael Shields. And it could have resulted maybe in a bit of a broken nose or something, but he seems to be okay.
Cork get it back. Ger Spillane under pressure, kicking. Pressure from Owen Brosnan. Free from where the ball lands. The referee decides, and it's 45 metres now from the Kerry goal.
Yeah, one of the trends with Kerry actually in recent games, both against Dublin and against Cork in the Munster final, is that they had this very good opening to the second half, but they actually allowed their opponents to come back at them, and again maybe at the very end pushed away from them. But it'll be interesting to see now, will they allow Cork come on to them, and if they do, will they be able to push on at the end, or can actually Cork make use of their period of ascendancy?
This is Daniel Goulding, who's taken over as the free taker from James Masters, who was clearly a bit rusty. Catches it but can't direct it as he wanted to, wide of the mark. So just 1 point in the second half for Cork so far, and we're now 12 and a half minutes into the second half, and they are disappointed, mind you. Man on the left still has a smile for his Kerry friend there, a couple of Kerry friends I'm sure. They all mingle so well. The players will tell you about the sense of anger that they feel when they're playing one another, the intensity of it all. Well, the fans just have a great big party. Man having a party right now is Darragh O'Shea. Outside to his younger brother Mark. Pursued by Donnacha O'Connor. On by Galvin. On as far as Owen Brosnan. Hasn't scored so far in this final. Trying to put that right. Here's another chance. And another one for Donaghy. Kerry can do no wrong. Cork's full back line all over the place. Another wretched piece of defending. And Kieran Donaghy adds to the goal. He got at the start of the half. 13 minutes after the first. The two backs, goalkeeper and defender, can't get the ball away. Michael Shields and Adam Quirk get in a tangle, a right mess. And Donaghy says, thanks a million, lads. It's 3-10 to 7 points for Cork. Kerry looking wonderful, Cork looking wretched.
Oh yeah, and I thought in that case Owen Brosnan was going for a point. I thought he undercooked it somewhat, but again, Donaghy, even though there may have been a talk about a square ball in that, he certainly accepted the game.
Cusson this time, stopped by Darragh O'Shea. Cork fans very, very disappointed with this, watching Killian Young right now, making progress. Kerry are looking ruthless, determined, playing as champions must, refusing. After all the years of supremacy in the Munster Championship, victory after victory over the years against Cork, refused to lose this final to the great rivals. Donaghy touches it down again, and the gooch this time, and the referee says foul committed. Free out to Cork.
Couldn't see what the foul was.
Well, maybe the gooch was back again, and maybe the referee just felt very, very charitable.
Well, I think he's been charitable to them all right. Maybe it was for that late tackle on Geraint Canty by Donaghy that he called, but certainly didn't seem to me to be a foul there.
Fintan Gould. Michael Shields. Canty calling for it. This is quite a beating that Cork are getting right now from Kerry. 12 points behind.
Well, you remember 2 years ago, Jervis, something was it 119 to 9 points when Kerry absolutely ran away from them.
That's back from Cusson as far as Fintan Gould. Players calling for it. Pearse O'Neill. Difficult to define his role in this team. Here he is again, raiding. Lobbed across towards Donnacha O'Connor. 2 against 1. Should favour the Kerry men. It does. Galvin's there inevitably. Thank you very much indeed. Away to the free-running Declan O'Sullivan. There's nobody near him. Taking on Spillane now. Here's Brosnan. Strong, resolute and determined. And before the block can come, he fires this one in. Will it go off the post again? Not this time. But they're leading by 3-10 to 7 points. And there are 51 minutes gone. 9 wides for Kerry.
Yeah, and certainly Kerry are quite content to get everybody back behind the ball. Just that effort by Brosnan again drifted well wide, but their defensive setup is excellent. They're just leaving the 2 guys up, Donaghy and Colm Cooper inside. They're playing very well off one another, and again Declan O'Sullivan and Owen Brosnan are getting much more into the game in the second half.
Pat O'Shea's team are, after creating 26 scoring chances in the match so far against just 10 for Cork, they are destroying their rivals from Cork. Here comes Michael Shields. Last year it was Mayo's turn to really feel the wrath of Kerry. winning by a wide margin in the end. Nothing that Cusson could do about that. Slipped on the greasy surface.
Yeah.
Well, those 3 goals are so vitally important in this game when you think about it. The first, that mistake at the back, the horrible start to the second half when Spillane was robbed by Kieran Donaghy, and that awful mistake between fullback and goalkeeper, which allowed Donaghy in for the third.
And it's very much a lonely and an unforgiving place for Cork at the moment. Again, there doesn't seem to be any prospect of a comeback. They just play for pride now and nothing else.
Touch of the damage limitation. And again, Kerry refused to give them an inch. Showing good competitive spirit, Mark O'Shea. In towards Michael Cusson this time. In beyond him. Gould's coming. Oh, that's in the corner. And that is by Daniel Goulding. Cork get one back. Well, the fans are happy with that one. They still feel there's a chance. They look at the scoreboard, see 9 between them. It was Goulding who came in here and into the corner. Player who was so lethal at the Under-21 Championship, held on and held on, got away with it and into the corner. 52 minutes of the game gone, 18 of the second half.
Well, fair play to him. Again, that ball came across, I think it was meant for Michael Cousins. Cousins let it go beyond him. Again, Daniel Goulding showed great anticipation that time. Cut across in front of Pádraig Reedy and shot it very well to the net. But they need 1 or 2 more of those in quick succession.
Some Cork fans were leaving. I think some of them decided to stay. Here's Anthony Lynch. Galvin getting in a tangle with him. Then the frustration spilling over. And that's unnecessary. We're seeing the man bags rather than the handbags once again in a Gaelic football match. Totally unnecessary, wasted time.
Yeah, it's unnecessary. And again, Darragh O'Shea's coming in here now with Derek Cavan. Again, it's so unnecessary. Kerry are in control of that. They should be drawing away their players, not getting involved in that. They're in control of the match. And again, it's ridiculous what's happening.
Just show us what you can do as footballers. Forget the boxing. That's for another arena. Here we go again.
Galvin
was in here fouling Anthony Lynch.
Yeah, definitely fouled Anthony Lynch. And again, I think Donogh O'Connor took exception to it and came in. And again, there's a little bit of guys pulling at each other.
Oh, there you go. It was when Anthony Lynch caught Galvin on the neck that time, I think, that the others came in from Kerry and took grave exception. So referee David Coldrick calling aside Paul Galvin. He was ticked already, so this will be a yellow card, following Pádraig Reedy into the referee's notebook.
Yeah, but again, it's a case of give a dog a bad name. I don't think Paul Galvin was any more guilty of sinning that time than a number of other players. Okay, he committed the foul that time on Anthony Lynch.
Sometimes you wonder, the reputations go ahead of players.
Reputations precede them, there's no doubt about that.
I mean, Noel O'Leary came into this match and people were saying, we'll be lucky to stay the full 70 minutes. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's had a very, very quiet game.
Yeah, again, I thought it was disgraceful. I saw one bookmaker actually had him at 8-1 to be the first person to get a yellow card.
Well, I think Galvin got the yellow card for the pulling down. And now Derek Kavanagh. He's going to get one as well. There you go.
Well, I think the net effect of that is to actually take whatever sting was in the Cork comeback out of them. And again, I think it probably suited Kerry.
The referee going in to call Darragh O'Shea over to him. 2 yellow cards already for Kerry players. He's already been ticked also. Kerry leading in the match by 9 points, and in yellow cards by 2 cards to 1. Or hang on, it's 2 cards apiece. Derek Kavanagh just after getting one as well, of course. Now we can change that. Kerry lead again. Darragh O'Shea, 3-2. This is the punch. Darragh O'Shea and Derek Kavanagh.
Well, there's a little bit more pushing the punch, in fairness. Like Darragh O'Shea catches him by the neck. It's a provocative gesture, certainly, and that time a little bit more than that.
Anyway, back with the action. In fact, in cards, it's 3-1. The only Cork card has been Derek Kavanagh. Killian Young on his way out fouled.
Player substitution.
And Kerry are going to make a change now, and it's going to be Sean O'Sullivan who will come on. Paul Galvin going off. He'll get a big cheer. Listen to the Kerry fans. Sean O'Sullivan coming into the action, playing in the championship now for the 26th time, and Paul Galvin makes his way off.
Yeah, I think he feels hard done by. Actually, he gives certainly Pat O'Shea some eye there as he came off, as much as say, why the hell did you take me off? And just the thing is starting to heat up.
Well, Pat O'Shea's job is to win the championship, not to get a player sent off.
Well, yeah, I can understand.
Not taking any chances.
Yeah, I think he did the right thing in taking off. He's just afraid he would kind of just explode maybe and bring Kerry down to 14 men. And
absolutely.
Don't need that.
Kerry just playing keep ball. Tomas O'Shea letting fly, and he's missed to the right. 3:10, 1-7. Pat O'Shea with just a bit longer now to go. We're in the 58th minute.
Yeah, but there's a way more fluency to the Kerry team than there is to the Cork team. Again, much more economical up front, and again, you just cannot see Cork getting back into it unless, again, they get another goal very quickly.
Well, they've only created 3 chances in the second half so far, Martin, and one of those was that Daniel Goulding goal.
Yeah, but Cousins again is in the edge of the square, and the ball isn't getting into him.
Here comes Donnacha O'Connor, having a go himself, and he finds the range perfectly. His 4th point of the match. First 3 coming from frees. So now it's an 8-point game.
Well, let's say of all the lads out there in the Cork team, Donnacha O'Connor, who's from the border actually where Kerry will be, you know, show maybe a little bit more defiance than others. Again, that was a fine score from his left foot.
Well, he's had 4 shots at the target, 4 points for the afternoon so far. But you're looking at about 12 minutes from the end of the All-Ireland final. Cork with it all to do. Noel O'Leary. Here's Kieran O'Connor. Fintan Gould. One of the young players for the future. That's for certain. Not with that pass, however. Intercepted easily. And away once again come Kerry and Colm Cooper. Michael Shields dragging him back, pulling his jersey, free in, not a doubt about it. And Michael Shields was ticked already, and this time I think he is going to get a yellow card, and it's going to be Cork's 2nd.
Yeah, what was interesting actually about it, about that attack, that the only person coming up in support of Cooper at that time was the sub Sean O'Sullivan. Kerry are quite content to absorb whatever punishment or whatever attacks Cork have, draw everybody back behind the ball and break out on the counter attack and try and score points.
So Shields, 2nd recipient of a yellow card for the men in red. Free conceded, however, to Kerry, who are leading very comfortably. And you can't afford to give them gifts and make mistakes like Cork have done in this final. Cooper a goal and 3 so far. And has it got the legs? It has. Good kick. Terrific competitor, Colm Cooper. Real crowd pleaser. And the margin stretches again to 9 points. And Kerry are looking towards title number 35. And the head-to-head once again is interesting. Scoring chances 4 from 4 for Donnacha O'Connor, 5 from 7 for Cooper, and he's got a goal and 4.
Yeah, one of the significant things about Cork today actually is, you know, coming into the game, Nicholas Murphy came in with a great reputation. He played very well. He's been really anonymous today, which is a big disappointment.
Here comes Fintan Gould. Derek Kavanagh. Inside towards Michael Cusson. Thomas Sullivan got a vital touch, and then the others came in to help. Aidan O'Mahony. Even if the match were to start all over again and it were 3:30, Martin, you'd wonder where would Cork make the necessary improvements to keep pace with this Kerry team the way they're playing right now. That's all the way in towards Donaghy, and there's Michael Shields held. And the referee doesn't allow the quick free to be taken, which is penalising Cork doubly in a way, because there's a little bit of work to do. Donaghy is going to get a card. Didn't get a ticking already.
Well, it's incredible. In the first half, he ticked so many players, didn't book one, and now all of a sudden in the second half, he's handing out yellow cards like confetti.
Hard to understand. Here's Shields. About 8.5 minutes of the game remaining. Donnacha O'Connor way back in his own half-back line trying to provide the fodder. And again the referee has blown his whistle. Cork want to take the free quickly. Inside towards Nicholas Murphy, who's moved into the full forward position. They need a goal or two. Daniel Goulding's got a goal already, this time with the right boot, and he plants it over the bar. Good return from a man who came on at half-time. Goal and a point. Good scoring by Daniel Goulding. And there's going to be another change now, and Darren O'Sullivan is going to come on for Kerry in place of Owen Brosnan. And when you have players like this, like Sean O'Sullivan, like Darren O'Sullivan, like Mike Frank Russell, who hasn't played at all so far but is down there warming up, and you never know, he might come on. Well, there he is. What a bench that is to have. So many resources available to you. It's like an assembly line.
Very much so. And an O'Sullivan half-forward line now for Kerry, Sean, Declan and Darren, and you can expect Darren and Sean certainly to put an awful effort in to make some kind of an impact on this.
Here's Noel O'Leary. They'll be bitterly disappointed with the way this game has developed. Nicholas Murphy held in possession, the 29-year-old from Carrigaline, first player from that club to play senior championship football. It's a huge one in towards Goulding again. Couldn't get anything on that one. It's easy for Dermot Murphy. Outside towards Sean O'Sullivan. Seamus Scanlon. Now Darragh O'Shea. Switching the direction of the play. Aidan O'Mahony. Gooch still full of running. Able to hold it. Canty frustrated. O'Shea. That's Darragh O'Shea. Gooch once again. 6.5 minutes left. Inside towards Donaghy. Came off his knee that time under pressure from Michael Shields, and that'll be a kick out for Cork.
Yeah, that's untypical of Donaghy today. Like, he's had a very good game in particular. You know, after the first 15 minutes where he was slow to settle into the rhythm of the game, he's had a great second half, and of course the 2 goals were critical to the way Kerry have played.
Was it as simple as that, Martin, when we do the final analysis of this game? Did the goals more or less determine who was going to win the match?
I think so. Again, it was 166 points, 3 points in it at half-time. It was there for Cork, but again, the start of the second half, it has been similar to what Kerry have done in many games this year. They scored 1-4 without reply. They simply just put that cushion between themselves and Cork haven't been able to respond.
And Gooch comes again. Back onto the left, which he prefers. And he's got enough on it this time as well. Goal and 5. Another man of the match type performance from Colin Cooper. And just listen to the Kerry crowd. And even the Cork fans, I suspect here, though they'll be bitterly disappointed, they recognise a genius at work here. And that is a terrific score.
Well, that is absolutely beautiful. Again, so assured when he gets the ball. Again, wanted to come back onto his left foot that time that he favours. But again, it's just his mixture of vision and accuracy has been delightful all day.
Tommy Griffin is in place of Killian Young, in to share the last 5 minutes of the 118th All-Ireland football final, which has been a disappointment from the point of view of a contest. It was poor in the first half, and with the gift goals in the second for Kerry, Cork struggled. And even at that, Aidan O'Mahony with a wonderful steal. And look at the support, 4 players in a line there. Like at the Rugby World Cup, coming forward again here with purpose and determination and a game plan. O'Mahony, 1 point in the first half. Support again available. This is Declan O'Sullivan. They might be winning this and winning it handily, but Sean O'Sullivan wants a point on the board, and the record books will show that he scored in the All-Ireland final. Man from Croke raises the flags once again. This was the move, inventive and a lovely finish. Lovely action by O'Sullivan, and Mike Frank Russell is in. Disappointed not to have started, but here he is coming in to share in the glory and play for Kerry for the 56th time. That is some achievement.
That's a wonderful achievement, and again we should actually salute Kerry also, because this to me has been the best Kerry team I've seen since the great one of the 70s. Again, they've been in so many All-Ireland finals, lost so many, came back, won so many, and again you just have to hand it to their players, the quality of the football that they can actually generate when they're playing well, but the sheer professionalism and the competitiveness of them and the skills that they have is just a magnificent thing to look at.
Darragh O'Shea in there having difficulty getting possession in the end. The referee blows against Nicholas Murphy. And Darragh and Nicholas Murphy exchanging elbows. Still going on. When they're old and grey, I'm sure they'll reminisce on the day they had in 2007 in the final. It's a long way to go. Here comes Colin Cooper. Again, he's just getting possession, lazily leaving it off for Mike Frank Russell. And that was the shot of a man who was not quite in tune with the pace of the game so far. Alan Quirk. Spillane again. Second year in a row that Kerry have come to an All-Ireland final. Second year in a row that they have beaten the opposition out of sight by a wide margin. They're ahead by 10 at this late stage in the game.
But you have to credit their consistency again, Ger. Again, I saw them in most of the games this year, from the game against Waterford down in Dungarvan to the lucky escape that they had maybe against Monaghan, again the wonderful Munster final they had. But they have been improving in every game, and you know there's so much at home here. And again, I think the fact they've had so much experience of playing here, that has been one of the factors that has stood to them.
Only serious blot really has been that goal for Daniel Goulding after 52 minutes. Again, it is Mike Frank Russell. He fancies his chance, but not going to be rewarded this time. And there were a number of other players waiting, like Darren O'Sullivan waiting inside. So we're inside the last 2 minutes now. Kerry took the lead after 13 minutes against Billy Morgan's team, and Billy will have to wait another 12 months at least.
To be honest with you, I don't think this performance reflects the quality in the Cork team today. I think they're a much better team than they actually look. Again, the lad taking the kick out here, Alan Kirk, will look back in this game with horror, because I think, to be fair, it was his mistakes, half into the first half and the beginning of the second half, that actually gave Kerry that gap that they have maintained since.
In truth, Cork have made incremental progress under Morgan this time around since he came back in 2004, winning a Munster title, reaching a couple of All-Ireland semis, and now an All-Ireland final as Aidan O'Mahony is down. Requires the attention.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened that time now, to be honest about it.
Well, he's about 40 yards out from the Cork goal. Seamus Scanlon has a yellow card thrust in his face by referee David Coldrick from Meath. Well, this is what happened here as Anthony Lynch was going forward, as if that head and arm isn't bad enough.
Yeah.
Knocked to the head there.
Yeah, like, to be fair to Scanlon, he tried to go shoulder to shoulder, mistimed the tackle, and as a result picked up a yellow card. But again, the yellow card is for a trivial enough offence.
Well, he's okay. And as if he wanted confirmation of why that big scoreline up in the top left-hand corner has been realised by Kerry. Well, they created 32 scoring chances, Cork 13, and there's a fracas on the right-hand side of the screen, as you can see. All a bit ugly.
It's unnecessary.
All too late at this stage.
Very much so. Like, I mean, time is up. This is ridiculous.
Last man up there was Darren O'Sullivan. Well, let's see. Darren O'Sullivan flung around by Kieran O'Connor. Kind of a mini version of sumo wrestling. Need to put on a bit of weight, lads, before you're ready for the big stuff. And Mossy Lyons is going to come in as the referee is taking care of the paperwork. So Kieran O'Connor is going to get a card. And there's also going to be one there for Darren O'Sullivan. The referee's so busy with the paperwork. The big cheer in the background was for Mossy Lyons coming in. 3:13 to 1:09. We're in injury time.
There's no doubt about it. Kerry possessed that degree of ruthlessness again, Ger. When they see a kind of an opportunity to put a team to the sword, they do it in style.
And when they see a red jersey, they make absolutely doubly sure that they do it.
Well, I think we were speaking in private beforehand. I said to you that I feel it nearly is unthinkable for a Kerry man to lose to Cork in an All-Ireland final and go back to the Kerry and live in peace after it, you know. Just the motivation for them, the motivation for both sides would have been great, but for Kerry lads, you know, imagine going back to West Kerry if you'd lost to Cork in an All-Ireland final.
Never forgiven. Mossy Lyons on then. 14th time to play in the championship. A big occasion for him. So all the subs have been used, I think, at this stage, certainly by Kerry. And the game is almost up for Cork, and it's only a matter of time before Kerry and their fans will celebrate. And again, it's the reigning Darren O'Sullivan. Got a cracking goal last year in the championship, down at that goal against Armagh. And yet another free kick awarded in a game which has been littered by stoppages and free kicks. 59 free kicks in all, I am told, by our statsman Tim McCarthy. Aidan O'Mahony. And Tommy Griffin says, let's have a go. Not into the record books with that particular one, Tommy.
Yeah, but speaking of record books again, just think Darragh O'Shea is winning his 5th All-Ireland today, which will give him respectability in Kerry.
Oh dear, when you think about his uncle and all the others with all their 8 medals, 5 is a fantastic tally.
That's right, and look at Tomás O'Shea out there again, playing today like he's 29 years of age now or something, but again, playing with the enthusiasm of a 20-year-old.
Michael Cusson touching it down. One great point earlier on, and that is a shot which is blazed wide there by Kevin O'Sullivan. Wouldn't have mattered, he knows it at this stage anyway. He was trying his best, but it's still 3-13 to 1-9, and his team poised to lift Sam. They're ahead by 10, and we're at the 3rd minute of injury time in a disappointing 2007 All-Ireland football final, which has sounded like a Munster final, but a Munster final in Dublin. Disappointment for Billy Morgan, who shows great loyalty to his team. He's one of the greatest coaches I've ever come across in Gaelic football. Terrific manager. We wait for the whistle now from David Coldrick. Kerry retain Sam Maguire. Deservedly they win the All-Ireland Championship. The winners in 2007, Gooch and company. Gooch with a goal and 5 points. Kieran Donaghy, who got 2 second-half goals. A match he will remember for a long, long time. The fans come in to celebrate with their team, with their heroes. And at the end of it all, they are the champions and they win the title for the 35th time. Another disappointing afternoon in a final for Cork. Beaten in the last few finals now that they've competed in. Lost in 99, lost in 93, and they've lost in 2007. It's Kerry the champions by 3-13 to 1-9 for Cork. The manager must be happy. Let's go down to Marty.
I'm sure he is. Thank you very much, Chair. Congratulations, Pat. Wonderful performance by your team.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's been a lot said, there's been a lot of things said about this team and a lot of things written, and you know, I mean, they've been the first team to go back to back. You know, they've been in the last 4 All-Irelands. They've won 3 of them. I think they're a great team. You know, they're showing a lot of freshness and hunger. Cork are a great team. We knew that coming up. You know, they're our dearest rivals below. We have the ultimate respect for them. But you know, today was our day.
Goals win championships, and Gooch's goal was obviously very important. It set you on your way. But Starr's goal right after half-time, well, that was crucial, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And again, I haven't seen it. It happened so quickly. He dispossessed, obviously, and you know, the goal was probably a little bit free. But I mean, look, it was a great team effort. That's what the Kerry team is all about. I'm sure that there's a lot of Kerry people happy all over the world today watching it. I mean, we wanted to play for our county. We're very proud. We're very proud of where we come from, and we like to show that in the football field.
Well, you certainly showed it today, but let me just, from a personal point of view, Pat, I mean, you took over the team from last year. There must have been a little bit of pressure down in the kingdom for you to deliver the goods.
Yeah, there was, but it was something that I always wanted to do, so I didn't feel it was pressure. I said that from day one. I enjoy what I do. My family are important to me. It's great that they're here, and you know, we'll enjoy the celebrations tonight.
And all the O'Shea's happy and pleased with Kerry. Well done, Pat. Thank you for doing the interview. Back to Jar.
That was a tremendous performance by Kerry and by Pat O'Shea. And you know, when I think about it, Martin, you look at another sport, hurling, and you think about John Allen coming along a few years ago there, taking over from Donal O'Grady. They had won an All-Ireland, and to take on a team that's won an All-Ireland, you can't do any better than the man who's won it before. So full credit to Pat O'Shea. Terrific performance by him.
Very much so. A very quiet, unassuming man. A man who obviously who knows his football inside out, who's been a massive inspiration to Colm Cooper, who we're looking at the moment. But the level of teamwork, the aggression, the strength of the team, the skill that they have, the intensity that they can apply to a game, and the variation in the way they can play the game during the course of it, and change the way they play during the course of it. All of those factors and all of those little variables combine to make a massive team. And again, as I said in commentary, 3, Jared, to me they're one of the best teams that I've seen in Gaelic football, and Paul Caffrey there will probably be looking at them and saying, you know, it was their Forest in the semi-final were it not for a bad mistake late on in that match.
The last team to win 2 All-Irelands back-to-back was Cork. It's now Kerry, 2006, 2007. Donaghy delighted. Gooch Cooper had 8 chances and he made 6 scores, a goal and 5. Brilliant. Now it's presentation time.
It is presentation time indeed. And again, Colin Cooper again has been one of the greatest players we've seen.
Galera are falling down at top faking there in Cleha Freshen. But while I'm Corcardigus and Dyer and Nasoft on Cleha Dimmer Sheet and you, August and Raytor, David Colbrick, August and Ian May Carlesh. Cabron done a Fern Corky, Biana Bleen like the Fern August. Cabron got Billy Morgan, August California, Big Shiver Ashley lend out, he played Chapoin. August Corcardigus the Muinter Kerry, August Fern Kerry, August Connor Shea. Shane to show the coming low Transvaal. Shane Law Derrina, a big name on Whale Maheel and Shaw, Marart Shurahor. Today's name will be his last day as Art Shurahor on All-Ireland final day, and I want on behalf of the association to thank him for his stewardship of almost 30 years of our association.
That's a very well-deserved tribute by Nicky Brennan for Liam Mulvihill, who has been the architect of the modern GAA.
The cup is presented. I know it is traditional for the President to present the cup, but on this special day for the Art Shurahor and his last All-Ireland final and 30-year service, Liam, I want you to present the cup to the Kerry captain, Declan O'Sullivan.
Liam Mulvihill is going to present Sam Maguire, a lovely touch. Very rarely do Kerry captains get to receive it 2 years running. Declan O'Sullivan is such a captain. 2 in a row for Kerry. They're champions once again. And boy, will they celebrate.
That's the first shot, Kerry. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute fantastic honor for me to stand here and accept this Samuel Trophy on behalf of this absolutely fantastic bunch of individuals. Fellas who've given their whole lives to Kerry football. Fellas whose time has been questioned. Fellas talking about them left, right and centre, disrespecting them, but it's the way Kerry people are in the back. This is what it's about. 50,000 Kerry people in the All-Ireland final game with Samuel. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that have made it possible. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Kerry Group, who've been fantastic sponsors down through the years, and they've never left us short of anything. I'd like to thank the Kerry County Board, and it's Sean Watson, the County Chairman. I think it's an absolute fitting into Sean's reign as County Chairman. He's been a fantastic chairman and a fantastic player. Come on, Sean. I'd like to thank the medical staff and our backroom team who came from all of these. All of our selfish work is not seen by the public, but the players appreciate it very much. I know it was very hard last year after winning the All-Ireland for a new management to come into this setup, and there was a lot of pressure on them. I'd like to thank the two Gaelics, Sean and Dr. Dave Gady. They've been fantastic, very fair, selected all through the year. I'd like to thank our physical trainer, John Shruckrow, who's got us in peak condition again today. Fantastic work, John. And to the manager, Pat O'Shea. Not too many people might have wanted this job when the previous management left, but Pat took it upon himself to keep Kerry at the top of the table. We've known Pat a long time. He's trained all of us up through the years, and he's proven to be a fantastic Kerry manager. Congratulations, Pat. I'd like to thank the Kerry supporters, one and all. They've been absolute fantastic this year. It's been a fantastic journey. A lot of tight games along the way, but he stuck behind us all the way, and here we are today with Sam. Thanks very much. To Derek Cavanagh, Billy Morgan and the rest of the Cork players, I'd like to say, look, you've had a fantastic year. You've been around now the last couple of years. Today wasn't your day, but I'm sure if you stick with it, you'll have a day up here as well. So, 3 cheers. A Pep? A Pep? Pep? And just a special mention to the referee, David Goldrick, his first All-Ireland charge. Thought he did a fantastic job, and all the fellas with him. So, thanks very much.
Yeah, the 2-goal hero Kieran Johnny, and coming up the Gooch. Some cheer for him, I'm sure. So there you have it then. Well, Kerry are always good. They're sometimes great, and for them today, this was a great and historic victory at Croke Park. We take a commercial break. More on the big final straight after that. Game live. So then, Kerry have just won the 2007 All-Ireland football final, defeating Cork by 3 goals and 13 points to 1 goal and 9 points. Well, let's get the thoughts now of the Cork manager, Billy Morgan. He's with Marty Morrissey.
Billy, thank you very much for joining us. Not a good day in the office. Nothing really went right for Cork.
No, Marty, very, very disappointing, and very disappointing the manner in which we lost, losing by 10 points. I don't think we're a 10 points worse team than Kerry, but having said that, they're a very good team, and I have no complaints. I mean that they're well worth their win.
I'm sure you were telling your players above all else not to concede goals, and goals wins championship. Whatever about the first one that Gooch scored, the second one must have broken your heart.
Well, we had only left in 1 goal all year, and that was in the Munster final. Possibly all 3 goals might have been prevented, but the second one was a disaster for us. We had gone back out in the second half, only 1 score behind, 3 points, and we were, we still didn't really believe that we could do it, and it's a disastrous goal, but it happened, and that's what really told the answer where we were concerned, and Kerry went on from there.
You also seem to have problems a small bit of midfield, because a lot of people were expecting you to bring out Michael Cusson around midfield, but that really didn't materialise, not for a long while anyway.
Yeah, well, he was, the thing was that he would move in and move out, but we felt that he was winning quite a lot of ball inside, that he looked much more dangerous inside, but we didn't, like in the middle third of the field, they were winning majority possession and really picking up a lot of breaks and stuff like that.
From a personal point of view, I know you've put an awful lot into putting this team together. It must be heartbreaking for you as well to see the performance, that they didn't do themselves justice this afternoon.
Well, that's the disappointing aspect from their point of view. They're a real bunch of lads, as I'm sick of saying. They work really hard, and they are a much better team than they showed out there. But look, they're young, and I think the future is still bright for Cork football.
Absolutely, Billy. Thank you very much for joining us. Well done. Thank you.
Well, I suppose Cork are not the first team to have been beaten by Kerry in the Championship in the last couple of years and find out a harsh lesson at the All-Ireland final. There's no question about that. But I suppose, as we were saying there at the interview, Colin O'Rourke, the goal at the start of the second half, it was the nightmare that Cork just didn't want.
Yeah, well, once this goal went in, the game was over. Maybe it should have been over at half-time anyway, and Kerry were much superior, but, you know, it was a sort of a comedy of errors here. You know, Star Donaghy comes out, tries to get the ball and misses it, and you think this is it. But, you know, what were Cork at? You know, ball over to Ger Spillane, and Alan Quirk had moved out of his goals and those big long arms. And when Donaghy gets the ball, he looks up and you see nobody at home at all. He doesn't know what to do for a second.
What was Alan Quirk doing? I mean, 3 times he came off his line and gave away 3 goals.
I'm sure Kerry can't believe their luck this year, because when things were tight against Dublin, Stephen Cluxton made a move that was fatal.
Well, look, again, look, you know, you can pick out isolated moments like this. But Cork were never going to win this game. I don't think they believed they could win the game. They came to the game, their body language was poor. They didn't have any strategy to stay with Kerry. They lacked the pace to compete with Kerry. I mean, there was a big gulf in class between the teams. I mean, Kerry have learned so much since 2005. I mean, they've improved immensely as a team, and with Donaghy at full forward, and the way they're playing now, they're playing this blanket defensive system. Once they get ahead of you, and the fact that they can give a long ball into Donaghy, you can't control Gooch anymore. I mean, Tyrone controlled Gooch in the 2005 final because they had a small full forward line and they were able to play a man in front of him. You can't control them anymore. You kick the ball into Donaghy. Donaghy brings them into the game then. You know, this threat. I mean, Donaghy and Gooch could have played on any Kerry team of the century and adorn it. I mean, they're sensational Gaelic footballers, both.
They are, but do you think that Kerry would have won this without that break there?
Yes, Kerry were going to win the game.
Yeah,
like they were totally on top. It was a no contest, because when you have 2 teams of Gaelic football is a very fair game. The better team will always win, bar some disastrous circumstances, unless, say, one team is, you know, not motivated properly or whatever. But when you have 2 teams coming together and where one has superior raw talent, as Kerry have, as we all know they have, and there was no chance of them being under-motivated because of the opposition and because it was an All-Ireland final, it was therefore going to happen. And with Donaghy now has taken over like Bomber did in 1976 or whatever.
And then, of course, he put the icing on the cake.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you do? And the other thing I've noticed about him, he's even bigger now. His shoulders are out. Great power, you know, and when he lands, he's able to keep his balance. He's very knacky with his hands. He can use both hands very well. He's great ball control. I mean, what do you do with him? I mean, what he did for that goal was he competed with the keeper and the fullback, flicked it down to himself. And, you know, what an outlet it is for the outfield players. And Kerry can now afford to play defensively because they give the ball long. I mean, just watch his power.
Owen Brosnan,
there.
Owen Brosnan
and
very quick on his feet.
You know, if that had been Colin, he would have tripped over himself. Look at that. You know.
No, he would have tripped over somebody else, but the ball was in the net.
But I mean, you have to say, Cork, I mean, Alan Quirk, on a number of occasions, I mean, all 3 goals, he came off his line. And once the keeper's off his line, then it's simple. Because if there's one mistake, the ball's in the net. I mean, at least if he had stayed on his line.
You can see the Kerry routine. They get the ball in the middle of the field, they move it to the right-hand side of the field, and then they give it across. And when Donaghy's in there, well, only has to get 1 or 2 of them. And there's going to be a couple of goals.
Well, we have, lads, a winner here at Croke Park. They have a winner down in Ballydesmond as well, although seeing as it's slap bang on the Cork-Kerry border, there was always going to be the case, I suppose, in that one. Here's Darragh Maloney.
Yes, well, here in Ballydesmond, the Kerry celebrations are starting already. The Kerry natives very, very happy with their result and that famous win over Cork at Croke Park today. Now, I'm joined by a married couple, Patrick and Rosarie O'Reilly, a Cork man and a Kerry woman. And Rosarie, you're from, you told me, 3 fields away, just up the road, the Kerry side of the border. What a day for you guys, back-to-back All-Ireland champions and beating Cork in the process.
I know, what can I say? We're just delighted. It was fantastic, absolutely.
Were you surprised that it was so comfortable in the second half? Nobody expected that.
Yeah, I suppose we just thought it could go either way in the second half. I thought Cork would come out on fire in the second half, but it didn't really happen like that. But I suppose I'm just very pleased that Donaghy, who's from Ballydesmond, did so well today playing with Cork, but not too well.
Rosarie, thank you. Patrick, I'm sure delighted for your wife, a proud Kerry lady this evening, but how do you feel? What is the Cork reaction? It's very, very hard for you guys to take, I know, losing to Kerry.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, there's a bit
of history there, and things started off fairly okay today, but by the time the second half came around and they just scored the first goal, I don't know, things went downhill after that. And what can you say?
I know you're not originally from Ballydesmond, but what's going to be like here this evening?
I'd say tonight here it'll be great for the Kerry crowd, but it'll be a different side for the Cork supporters. But sure, we'll drink the night away anyway, and sure, tomorrow I'll come round again.
Drown your sorrows. Patrick and Rosario Riley, thank you both very much. That's it from Ballydesmond. The Kerry party is just about to start.
I have a small suspicion some of the Cork crowd might just join in as well. Colin Rourke, the season of football that's been in it, overall thoughts?
Overall thoughts, I don't think it has been a great championship. There's been a few good games. We started off with Meath and Dublin. I thought the Kerry-Dublin semi-final was the best half of football that I saw all year. But you know, people are always going to be saying, oh God, not Kerry again. But like, I always look at that the other way. I applaud excellence, and Kerry have set the standard, and nobody else is able to get near that standard this year. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it puts the Dubs and Monaghan into perspective, you know, very pacey, you know. I mean, if you don't have pace, Kerry will blow you away. And Cork were just too ponderous there today. You know, I agree that, you know, the pity of it is that Tyrone, from a position of great strength in 2005, have lost so many of their forwards through injury and all of that, and their team's been so disrupted. And the question really is, can Tyrone put the show on the road again next year? Because it doesn't look as though anyone else is capable of competing with Kerry, you know.
That's one we're all going to be talking about next year, please God. Now, if you want to take note on some of our further sporting programming here on RTE Television, here is all the information for you. Over on RTE Radio 1, it's Take Your Point. Now, that's a mixture of expert comment from the studio guests, plus the listeners' views as well. Con Murphy will be taking you through all the post-match discussion, and that's on the air in actual fact roundabout now. The Sunday game tonight, that brings you lots more on today's All-Ireland finals. Pat Spillane is in studio. I will be at the Winners' Hotel. We'll be naming our man of the match from today's final, and we'll be getting the panel to give their selection of the team of the year. Now, just looking ahead to next weekend, we have highlights of the All-Ireland Ladies Football Final here on RTE Television. That game features Cork against Mayo, and our coverage of that game is here on RTE2 Television. Now, once again, we give you a reminder about the points of contact for our other GA services, our website, email, text and subtitle service, which is available to you on Airtel page 888. And that's it then on football's big day here at Croke Park. Kerry are the All-Ireland Senior Football Champions for 2007, while Galway, of course, take the title in this year's Minor Football Championship. And congratulations to them both. My thanks also to Joe Brolly and to Colin Rourke for their contribution, both today and indeed all through the summer. I'll hopefully see you...
And there's Declan O'Sullivan arriving in the last hour with Kerry's favourite friend, Sam Maguire. You're very welcome to the Sunday game on the night that Kerry claimed the 35th All-Ireland Senior Football title. And we'll be catching up with the champions at their victory celebrations very shortly. Later on, we'll be naming the Sunday game man of the match from today's final and selecting the best 15 players in this year's championship. First tonight, a warm welcome to Darragh Kineda, Tony Davis and Kevin McStade. Gentlemen, you're all very welcome. Darragh, a good day at the office for Kerry?
A good day at the office, and they didn't necessarily have to be as good as I think they expected to be. They ticked all the right boxes on the big day yet again, and I'd say there's a kind of an immense, quiet kind of a satisfaction in Kerry at the moment. I don't think there's any euphoria, even looking at the pictures there with Declan. The euphoria might come later on tonight and maybe in the days and weeks ahead when they realise what they have achieved. But you know, there was all talks of all kinds of records coming into this game, and all those records have been achieved now. And, you know, they are a team for all ages, and there's quite satisfaction, I would imagine.
Tony, you gave a lot of very compelling arguments last Sunday night why Cork could win.
Yeah.
What went wrong?
An awful lot went wrong, Pat. Concession of easy scores, giving away possession easily, but basically they were beaten by a better team on the day. Cork never really turned up. They were in the game just after half-time. Coming out after half-time, they were 3 points down. I'm sure Billy and the lads would have told him, look, get stuck in now, get your scores. What happened to goals straight away? And virtually the game was over at that stage, and they were playing catch-up, and they were never going to win the game in the second half because, look, Kerry forwards played very well. Gooch and the lads, they were just throwing the ball around them. They were just a different class today, and Cork weren't good enough.
Kevin, John O'Mahony during the week on the road to Croke said it was a disappointing championship to date, and he was hoping that a good final would make up for the campaign. Did we get a good final?
Well, I don't necessarily agree that it was a poor championship, that'll be the first thing, but did we get a good final? No, we didn't. I'd say it's the second year in a row now we've had a poor All-Ireland final. This one at least lasted till just after half-time. Last year's one was over maybe after the first quarter. It's always disappointing when a team wins by 10 points in an All-Ireland final. That really shouldn't happen, you know, with the competitive nature of it and the preparation that's involved. So a 10-point defeat for Cork really shouldn't happen. But fair play to Kerry, they have to beat whatever in front of them, and by God, they did that today.
Right, so much more analysis from the boys later. OK, so time for our first visit of the evening to the City West Hotel, where the Kerry celebrations are just starting to swing. There for us, as always, Michael Lester.
They are indeed, Pat, and you're very, very welcome indeed to City West Hotel this evening, where I think, as you can hear, the Kerry supporters are in high spirits after the team's victory today. Well, now, just a short while ago, they were joined by the team themselves and, of course, by the victorious manager, Pat O'Shea, and Pat is here with me right now. Pat, you're very welcome indeed, and congratulations to you for a start off.
Thanks very much, Mike.
Pat, I heard in the pre-dinner speeches a moment ago, Sean Walsh and others have said that, you know, when you took over this team, there was a touch of a poison chalice about it. They were the All-Ireland champions, a couple of key lads had retired. How do you motivate fellas with a bucket full of All-Ireland medals? What motivated you to take on the job?
Well, first of all, it's always a great honour if you're ever asked to be involved with Kerry at any level and at any particular job. So whether it's been a player or as a manager, it was great this year for me to get the opportunity. You know, you're dealing with some of the best footballers in the country. It makes your job a lot easier. You know, these lads have been around for the last number of years. They've been hugely successful, but you know, they're still not finished. And you know, obviously it showed today that, you know, they're hungry for more success, and you know, it's easy to manage a group that are hungry for success.
Nonetheless, you still have to take on a championship campaign. It is a tough campaign. Your demeanour never changed at any time during the championship match. You always look calm and collected. Is he the same lads in the dressing room, I wonder? No, you have a very steady attitude to the match.
Well, I suppose it's different from being involved with your county, because obviously the most important thing is that you know, that the players perform on a day, and that, you know, you're there to make sure that, you know, you can get your own job right, which is, if there is switches, obviously we have a very good management team in place with Dr. Dave and Sean as well, and you know, it's important for us that we can keep our heads cool, so that if there is changes or if we feel that we need to change things up, we can do that. You know, and in the past possibly people would have maybe been a bit more involved in the games.
Yeah.
We're a bit more maybe relaxed.
On a personal level, it's been a fair old journey for yourself from 1992, was it, the club final playing in Croke to be the manager of Kerry here this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, like as I said, I mean, you know, being from Kerry, you grow up wearing football boots, like, you know, and that's all you ever want to do. You know, as I said, if you're lucky enough to go on and play with your county, it's a great honour, and you know, I think every one of the players here today would be of the same sentiment. I mean, you know, we were representing our county today, and I think it was important that you know, that we would perform as well as we could. You know, everybody's proud of where we come from, and you know, that's how we, I suppose, play today.
Well, you showed that today, Pat, and congratulations to you once again and to the lads. Fantastic performance. Thanks. Okay then, well now, in actual fact, we're staying here at the winners' banquet for a few minutes more, because Marty Morrissey is here with us tonight as well, and he is down in the hall with someone else to introduce to you right now.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, a little bit of history was made in Croke Park today, because the man beside me is the first man since Dick Fitzgerald in 1913 and 14 to captain All-Ireland winning teams back-to-back. Declan O'Sullivan, well done. Congratulations. There was a steely determination. My friends in Kerry said you just couldn't lose this. You had to beat Cork no matter what happened.
Well, Kerry never liked losing in Croke Park, especially All Ireland final day, and I suppose with Cork being the opponents, you know, there's an extra edge to it, I suppose, and certainly we didn't want to be beaten today.
When you look back at the championship, one name, one county comes to mind, Monaghan. They really did put it up to you. It was kind of a wake-up call, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Monaghan game was an awkward game for us, I suppose. We had a 6-week break before that, and in fairness to Monaghan, they were very well organised under Seamus McEnany, and it was a tough game. But I think the character and the togetherness shown that day, you know, we stuck it out, we weren't playing well, and right into the death, you know, we sneaked a couple of points in the end to win it. I think that showed the spirit and commitment in this Kerry team, and I think from then on, you know, we drove on, we took that togetherness through, and I think it's been shown the last couple of games as well.
They say every coach tells me goals wins championships. You did it against Monaghan. Your colleagues today, Gooch and Starr, did it as well. I mean, they're vital, those goals today, particularly in Croke Park, weren't they?
Absolutely, as I say, goals is 3 points, you know, but even for the psychological part of it, you know, it lifts the team, it demoralises Cork, I suppose, there a certain extent in the second half especially, and in fairness, the two boys inside, they caused wreck today, you know, and they have it all, both of them, you know, so it was fantastic for the two guys.
I know you're a cool kind of a guy, Declan, and I know you spent a lot of time in Australia last year. Any plans to go down under for the winter?
Not at the moment, unless someone wants to buy me a ticket or anything like that, no, but I might enjoy my time, myself and Paul, you know, we had a great time down there for a couple of months and we really chilled out and enjoyed it, and we're back fresher and sharper and we just enjoyed our football this year now.
Well done, and congratulations on captaining the All-Ireland team and making a little bit of history. That's it for the moment here from the City West Hotel. The party's only beginning amongst all these Kerry people. Let's go back to the Kerry man in the studio back in Donnybrook. Pat.
Many thanks, Marty. Time for us now to take a look at this afternoon's action. For Kerry, in terms of reaching All-Ireland finals, this current decade has been as successful as any in their history. 6 finals since the year 2000. For Cork, the challenge today was to improve on their win ratio, a tally of just 6 wins from 19 final appearances. And as the South and Southwest headed towards Dublin this mid-September morning, it was certain sure that this was going to be a very special day.
Absolutely fantastic bunch of individuals. Fellas who give their whole lives for Kerry football. Fellas whose character has been questioned. Fellas totally open left, right and centre. Disrespecting them. But it's the way Kerry people are in the back. This is one of the most 50,000 Kerry people in the All-Ireland final day of South Florida.
Can I just remind you, lads, that at the start of the year, not one of the experts tipped Kerry to win the All-Ireland. Not one of the experts even suggested Kerry has been close to winning an All-Ireland. So, you know, they've won 4 All-Irelands this decade. They've been in 6 finals. And I posed the same question after Kilkenny won the hurling. Do Kerry get the credit they deserve?
Possibly not, I suppose. I didn't think it riled them as much as it obviously did there in Declan O'Sullivan's comments. You know, I think it was something that obviously got to the players at the time. You know, during certain parts of this year they had been criticised, their you know, I suppose their place in history had been questioned, and you know, players generally don't play for that, and I think back-to-back was almost a dirty word in Kerry all year. You know, it was a kind of a dirty word maybe 2 years ago and in previous times where we were going for it, but it's an obvious internal motivation for the players, you know, to prove that there's nothing like it, you know, to prove yourself over and over and over again. I mean, they're playing all year with a hunger they have no right to have, and you have to question where that hunger comes from. So it's obviously an individual thing and an internal thing within the players, and you know, I think everybody likes to be praised and as a footballer at the end of the day, but you know, it's not that winning is the be all and end all for this group of players.
Yeah, it is, Dara, but I think you have to look at the history books now as well. Dara O'Shea now has 5 All-Ireland medals, Mike Frank has 5.
Phenomenal achievement.
Phenomenal achievement, as well as that, Tyrone and Armagh around, which weren't around in your day, Pat, in the former great Kerry team. So these guys have to be considered on a broader scale than just playing now. They have to be considered in the history of Kerry football as probably one of the best group of players that have played, because football now is so intense. You get no easy game back. Even when we played, if you won the Munster Championship, if you played an Ulster team, the competition wasn't there, or the Connacht team. It's much harder now. It's more physical demands, and their history, or their place in history, is definitely secured.
Yeah, but they do. I'm not sure I agree with you there in terms of the recognition. I know nobody that would question the ability of Kerry footballers at this present Kerry team. I agree with you in terms of the pantheon of great footballers and great teams. They'd rate with any team from Kerry, in my opinion, and any era that I remember or recall. 4 or 5 of that team would definitely make, I would say, with respect, Pat, say your great team of the 70s and 80s. Absolutely fantastic. I would praise them to the hill. I think they're marvellous players, and their achievements in the competitive era that Tony has described are astounding.
Would it be fair to say, though, that maybe, I mean, this was their first 70-minute performance, that maybe the opposition isn't great at the moment? Is that unfair?
Well, I certainly don't think it helped Cork the run in they had. Kerry were, put through the furnace so many times coming into this game. They had the ideal preparation they mightn't have had 2 years ago. I know that, won't go down too well up north. Tyrone beat them on the day and beat them fair and square and well, but they had the ideal preparation coming into this. They had 3 tight matches in a row. Cork were beating teams, who basically were coasting. The Cork were coasting 10 minutes into the games they had played against Meath, 10 minutes into the second half against Meath, 10 minutes into the second half against Sligo. They just weren't ready for that.
Well, let's go on. Let's focus in on one aspect. I mean, in the pre-match build-up, everyone was saying Nicholas Murphy, the best centre field in the country. Cork centre field would dominate. Kerry would struggle in that area, and it didn't happen, Dara.
No, it didn't, and I suppose that's one of the strengths this Kerry team have. They attack the perceived strengths of the opposition and always go for the jugular, and they did that again today at midfield. They enjoyed total domination, you could say, at midfield today. Seamus Scanlon's a very underrated player within Kerry and without. Dara Shea, we all know how good he is, and here we see them just fielding at will, bossing, lording it at midfield. Dara Shea and getting his way out, and it's a notable feature of the Kerry play today is when they do run into traffic as well, they're able to get out and offload. They're reminded of the All Black rugby players, well able to offload. Seamus Scanlon catching another one there previously, and again, he's well able to jostle his own position here. Seamus Scanlon catching this one again, and here we have another one from the Cork kick out. Kerry dominating, Dara Shea getting it on and moving it on into attack.
At half-time today, both Joe and Colin were actually criticising Kerry's tactics in the sense that they felt that maybe Kerry were too negative and they crowded out midfield to the detriment of that. If they focused more on their forward play in the first half, that they would have been further ahead.
Well, I think the important thing was to win the battle around the middle area. I think all the talk coming into the game was that it was going to be like feeding time at Jurassic Park and all those things. There's only 6-foot+ people around there, and I think it was important for Kerry to impose themselves physically just as much as Cork would have been doing all year, and they did that. And I think after that it was time to put a few cherries on top and stuff like that, and they did that. They had the players inside to do it. Maybe at times in the first half, but maybe late in this first half, you might have suggested they should have maybe loaded more green and gold jerseys into the forwards, but that's a minor criticism.
Tony, what's the difference now between this Kerry team under Pat O'Shea as opposed to the Kerry team that won 2 All-Irelands with Jack O'Connor?
Well, you can see slight differences in the way they play, and I suppose one of the ways they play is they hold the ball up quite a lot. Last year we saw Donaghy at full forward, and there was the long ball in, which was successful last year. This time they adapted and evolved as they went along. We saw Gooch dropping a little deeper. Here we see the ball into midfield, and again, as they did all day today, won the ball. Scanlon kicks it in, and Gooch just does what Gooch does best and flicks it in. Here we have another ball into the middle of the field, won again. Laid it out to the right, which they did quite a lot today, and they broke down that wing and left the ball straight into the box again. That's option number 1. Work the ball in it goes. Donaghy comes from behind, breaks it down for himself and finishes it very well. Fantastic goal. Here we see the other thing, Cork coming out again, losing possession. Win it at midfield yet again, and we saw Gooch flicking it up with his left leg nonchalantly, solos it, has a good look around, holds the ball up, and he dropped a little deeper this year, I thought, with Kerry, playing like the role he played with Dr. Croke in the championship, and a good score. I think that was Scanlon again, was it?
In the semi-final?
This is the one that defines it most of all. And I think this year they were quite calm, quite cool, taking the right option at the right time, holding possession all along. I think there was 7 or 9 passes all along the way here. Comes out to Declan O'Sullivan, confident on his left leg, finishes the game and puts Dublin outside, and that finished the game.
The game did them huge favours. I think they realised at that stage they were getting a bit one-dimensional, and they said it themselves publicly and privately that they were going to introduce a bit more variety into their game. That's what you see for the last two matches now.
Tony, I know it is easy in hindsight, but did we read too much into that performance against Meath?
Maybe we did, Pat, quite honestly now looking at that, but Cork never showed the passion today that they showed against Meath.
Why was that?
I don't know, Pat. Maybe it was an All-Ireland final, maybe they weren't used to it, maybe you have to lose one to win one, I'm not sure, but they just didn't show that passion. I suppose the main thing that happened today that didn't happen against Meath is they lured in midfield in the second half against Meath. Today they didn't win a ball, they didn't catch a clean possession, they didn't win a break, they weren't driving forward, but then again, Pat, it was the soft goals that killed them. They're like coming out in the second half, 3 points down, they were still in there with a chance if they could have got a few scores, but look, it was over straight away when Donny got that goal.
Kevin, Cork reverted back to their old style of play in the last game against Meath, the possession football, this running possession football, but it didn't do them any favours today.
Well, it's fraught with danger if you don't just get it spot on, you know. When you're doing a possession type game, everybody needs to be clued into, you know, dumps at short notice. You know, if I live 2 metres away and you're doing a 1-2 with them, anyone switches off to that little exit strategy.
And you need an extra man, don't you?
Ah, well, absolutely. And then giving it to people that are in static positions and thinking that they're going to break the next tackle that's in front of them, especially against the Kerry team who are beefed up. Now, the point I'm making here is bringing the ball into contact. I've never seen this at this level. The amount of times today Cork did that. Charles Spillane getting robbed for it. Look, the goalie wasn't even in the nets when he went to turn around to kick it in. Here another one, just coughing it up. It's very cheap because they're bringing it into contact all the time. And the point I was making to you is that the Kerry team are so strong upper body now, they'll rip it out of you. And now they're playing around with it here, just looking for an open. This is only, I think Derry, you said, put a few cherries on it. This is just showboating to a certain degree. And they're going to flick it over, no problem whatsoever. These are all from errors by Cork. I counted about 3 goals in 4 points, 3 goals in 5.
Turnovers.
Well, you would put them down to errors. I mean, Billy must have been going balubas on the sideline when he saw the sort of goals that were being conceded. All 3 of them, definitely you could turn around in the dark room tomorrow and say, gee, what are we playing at? Naive stuff, very simple. There's another rob out the field and Goose just putting a bit of gloss on it there, flicking it over.
But Kevin, wasn't that running possession game, wasn't that found out last year when Kerry reverted to catch and kick?
Well, absolutely, and never mind Kerry, any team that has a target that can do catch and kick. And remember now, we're saying all this, Pat, with Michael Cusson at 6'7", is it? Yeah. They could have been parked up front, and that ball could have been let fly. But they were way too ponderous today, and maybe it being their first All-Ireland, you mentioned that, Tony, they got a little bit nervous on the ball. But the amount of drop balls in contact was shocking today.
Yeah, and as well as that, Michael Cusson actually tried his best today. When he was at full forward and he got good ball, he won it. But they had to move him out the field because they had to try and win a primary possession because they weren't winning it there.
So plan A, plan B, plan C, they all failed.
They did. They
okay.
Better 15, Pat.
We'll have more analysis later. Time for a short break now. We'll be back in a moment with a visit to the heartland of County Kerry as the Kingdom start to celebrate a fantastic day.
For an expert view from the sidelines, Davy Fitz writes exclusively every Monday in The Star, your GAA newspaper.
Alright, Georgie. What's it like out?
I don't know.
RTE2's unmissable new drama continues with Georgie's story.
You've got to look after your kid. I do my best, buddy, Mr. Forbes. I know you do.
Prosperity, Monday at 9:30 on RTE2.
Formula rehydrates the body faster than water, fueling the passion.
Nothing fills a hole like a roll plug filler. Roll plug fillers you can really trust.
Are we just dreaming? Are we?
Dreaming of a bigger place? At Bank of Ireland, our dedicated mortgage advisors can help with everything from legal fees to home insurance. And best of all, with an ECB tracker rate from just 4.8% APR. Call us today on 1890 365 850. Bank with us and you'll believe.
A box of nasty plunk gets the spar treatment.
Tom Durley's Corker's wine selection, exclusive to Spark.
We see patients every day with sensitive teeth. Chocolate, particularly chocolate that has been taken from the fridge, is a major trigger of sensitivity. Brush twice a day using Sensodyne toothpaste. It's nice to have something that's so simple and yet so effective to use.
All of these homes look the same, but they're not. This is a green energy home thanks to Aquatech's Polar Bear range of products and technologies. Just look at these. Underfloor heating, air-to-water heat pumps, and solar panels, reducing CO2 and saving you money. Call Aquatech, Ireland's #1 green energy solutions provider, on 1850 367 367. Lines are open now.
Guess who didn't have their fives today?
There are moments that mark our fall from innocence.
We heard you were coming.
But after that summer,
We're gonna adopt one of us.
nothing would ever be the same.
You think getting adopted is gonna fix anything? You don't need anyone.
What's the big deal about parents anyway?
Us far worse than brothers.
We are brothers.
December Boys.
Max, you're killing me.
Hey, everybody jamming. Hey, man. She jamming? They jamming too. Can a brother get a Bud Light, man?
Enjoy the lighter side of life. Make it a Bud Light.
For unmissable analysis, Martin McHugh gets to the heart of things every Monday in The Star, your GAA newspaper.
You're welcome back once again to the Sunday game. Now, today's All-Ireland final is done and dusted, but the party is just beginning right across County Kerry. From right in the thick of all the fun and frolics, we're joined by Darren Maloney.
Yes, good evening. Welcome to Killarney. We're here in the Dunlow Lodge pub, and the celebrations, I can tell you, are well underway. I've got some very, very happy, a lot of very happy Kerry people with me here. Mike O'Sullivan, first of all, what did you think of today?
Absolutely unreal. You know, it's been, so they said, so many years since he came back All-Ireland, especially for Pat O'Shea. You know, he took over from a manager that did so many things for Kerry. You know, he came into it. He was with the Dr. Club in Killarney. You know, he had a couple of great players on his side, but he had a lot of players he didn't know. He knew through the other sides of Kerry, you know, but absolutely great manager. Delighted for him and for the Kerry supporters, and he truly did it for Kerry today, and his team did us proud.
Now, Owen McCarthy, walking in the door here this evening, somebody said to me, oh, we're talking about 3 in a row already. You haven't even celebrated 2 in a row properly.
Oh, we're only getting started. We're just only the start for the third one, like. Yeah. Tell you, like they always say, you can't keep a good Kerry men down, like.
Absolutely. But are you not sick of winning All Ireland? Will you not give somebody else a chance, no?
No, not a whole. The more the merrier, as they always say, like.
What a year it's been for Kerry, just thinking, beating Dublin in the semi-final and now beating your oldest and greatest rivals in the final.
Yeah, well, they came to a bad start, like, but through and through, we came out through it, like.
All right, so what's it going to be like in Killarney tonight?
I'd say it'd be quite enough, I'd say. Yeah. Small crowd around, you know, it's only 1 or 2 of us out.
All right.
But I'd say we'll survive.
Guys.
No, just one more to the Cork people. We'll have hurleys next year, lads.
Very good. Now, what of the beaten finalists in today's all-Munster affair at Croke Park? It's never easy losing a decider at headquarters, harder still when your next-door neighbours have taken all the glory. After today's match, Cork players spoke with Marty Morrissey.
Nothing went right in the office today, really, for Cork, did it?
No, everything went wrong, actually. It was just mistake after mistake by us in the first 10-15 minutes, and we were kind of, I suppose, lucky to be still in the game at half-time, because had they capitalised on our mistakes better, then they would have buried us, but it was just one mistake too many in the second half. I think just everyone was guilty of it. Like, we weren't winning kick-outs, we weren't winning breaks, kick passes going astray, you name it, everything just went wrong.
Judging by what I was hearing from the Cork camp, everything seemed to go very well in preparation, but do you think it was just the day, stage fright?
I wouldn't even say stage fright, to be honest. I think we got it. We were 3 points down at half time, and then just
Well, it's a couple of mistakes got us. Like, I don't think it's very fast to lose it, I think. I don't think it was stage right. From a personal point of view, I know you've put an awful lot into putting this team together. It must be heartbreaking for you as well to see the performance, that they didn't do themselves justice this afternoon.
Well, that's the disappointing aspect from their point of view. They're a real bunch of lads, as I'm sick of saying. You know, they work really hard, and they are a much better team than they showed out there. But look, they're young, and I think you know, the future is still bright for Cork football.
Okay, so the first match played today was the minor football final between the young men of Galway and Derry. Our commentator, as always, is Micheál O'Shea.
Deisige duide, dul idir nón saí. Dechal Ashley. Dúra sé fé scór. Díana ige seantatá. Ige Gavin McGeehan agus Cole ige Gavin McGeehan. An lántasach Anna Húsanson ige duide. Ó bhailen duide éisio chomá. An Chaidenson ige Declan Mullen a bólaisteach gurí Gavin McGeehan. Pachta go deasige agus an bhartíanta ige Keith Kelly. Stechan líon táin. Carlos McWilliams agus be sé siúd ó chanimara a ríiste bblianta chuin. Mach go dtí lár na páirce stecha joimil na Carnoige. Náidir ó seansa ar chol bhaig an a haváil. Istige gón Higgins deach rím haris a drasnáin. Cad é mar hansa bhí ag go dtí límúr amach na stecha luas lasarach agus ápaintin is fachta go siúd. Annach Watson ar an bautas ag Michael Martin. An lántasach take himach go dtí lár na páirce. Shelif Kinnehiga. Wiltesteach go deasan so go dtí Damien Reddington. Reddington go dtí John O'Brien. John O'Brien go hard agus go trín ag John O'Brien. An pointe sin a tastáilio ngáile. An bhar na lídathe an bautasán ag farach lacháin John O'Brien. Paul Conroy. An captain. Isteach dtí Jojo Greeny. Pachta go Jojo. Lína cúgvead agus dahad. Bhuilte go glóte go Jojo isteach Damien Reddington. Han pasta tapig leis. A sé lúfar. Corm glóte. Iarachta scór. Bhuilte. Agus bhuilte go má ag Damien Reddington agus tréise go tséhid. An ciad ceann go siúd ní lachar in is ach éon báide a bháin. Gavin McGeehan a bóla go dtí James Keele. Chance go James Keele tarnas. Joe an trasnáin agus haris a trasnáin agus beise anna hásta a fadla sin. Paul Conroy agus bhuilte go siúd go dtí Éanna Glynn. Éanna Glynn inis amachta rúthar. Bhuilte go fanna taobh líne go dtí John O'Brien. Johé John luas lasar a chagmach leis fós in chumanna a chúgveadar is dahad. Dahad méadar imach leis go fúil. Trasna na páirce go dtí Éanna Glynn. Éanna Glynn go hálinn pointe úntach inspiráideach den ngáile van chiad ceann ag an bharratha gimmart sa lína lán chuún ar thaobh na láimh idirse. Sciaran na caide fachta an son do chuide go Neil Forrester ach pointe go agus seo héad más feithí. Bhuilte go má agus deisiid ag Conor Doherty. Mechtasteach a dúra sé fé tóraigh sin anna pointe agus tá siad an coscó. No bhfuil Níl ceapas go bheith níthe tá mí ceart. Ceapas go raibh sí ann agus stóilm go raibh sí ann na stóilm go raibh bhí sí steig bhín ceart agin. Pointe bethaíach níl siad tucha. Pointe cinnte laistigh den bulla ach níl siad tucha ag an mair. Seo deisiile ansa agus Stephen Cleary. Stephen a gháiliste. Bhuilte go Stephen agus ní léon áras mar gheallar ige sin an parla pointe go Stephen Cleary. Aidan Hearn. Linna Catóig. Woodíidech. An bhaid siad scór an san ag eisiau go Gavin McGeehan. Pulla bhuilte go Gavin McGeehan. Mí ábharach ach fós tá seansa go duine pointe gáil. Bhuilte go hard agus bhuilte go hol. Well, hí seans óntach an san ag Gavin McGeehan. Conor Doherty, Bultiga Conor D. Michael Martin, Dishiga Michael Martin, and it's Washley back to Stechador Jefe Holana Block. Shots Fosiga Michael Martin, a Markady Paul Conroy, D. Michael Martin, a Shin Painted Dastiga Michael Martin, Caro Paintiga Michael Martin. Inish Neil Atra a Painter. Bachta Gadastonson, the Nile get Moss Fahy, a Markady Antonio Grief, a Tarlet and Mordi, Jojo Graney, Jojo Tarakade, with the topic, is Dakadin on the Justin Butt, a Markady Michael Martin, on Mordi, Ashtajo on the Carnoiga, K. Yoga Council, shots at Sagan, get Damien Reddington, the Vice goal! Damien Reddington, Ton Riley, Quinta and Kane. Here the Nile, here the Hook. Norde Unson le Conor Doherty ach kick Schlasse Evegaun Dangalib Dede Moyer Wiltig the topic Agashane Current Skilla Aiden Wiltig Alan Mulholland Bannister Nagali Witte a Curtly 1 point a boy Shneen scored there na Hatsa Here the day Igangalib Here the Noe Igadidi
Running Con Tomas Stark captain for na Galiba Paul Conroy.
We hung in there today and we did the same all year. We were down by 4 points at half time today and thankfully we hung in there, didn't drop the heads and gave it a right go in the second half and we got the break I suppose and came through in the end.
Fair play to Galway, like, they probably thought that we were out of sight for 5 minutes to go. They kept battling away and they took their opportunity well. Young Reddington, I thought whenever he can buy the first defender, the second defender them covered, but he got inside and took it well.
Dara, Colm O'Rourke said after the game today that this was a case of the better footballing team winning.
I suppose we'd like to think the better football team always wins in the finals, but it would probably be a small bit unfair to Derry. They did manage to win an awful lot of possession, probably didn't make the better use of possession. Galway made a better use of possession, showed a ruthless streak towards the end and probably showed an ability to adapt to the challenge as they presented themselves and did their damage in kind of short, devastating little bursts. But their ball handling skills were probably a bit better than Derry's, but Derry were very, very unlucky to lose this one today.
Tony, after 15 minutes, Derry were 6 points up. Galway showed great composure and great character in coming back.
They did, and as you said, they played nice football. They looked comfortable on the ball, their hand passing, their kick passing, and they never gave up really. And I suppose everything went against them because we saw during the film there that they got a point that was disallowed. That was clearly a point. They'd been absolute murder this evening if they had lost it, you know. But one other thing happened during the game I thought was good. At 1-6 to 7 points, Derry got a free, and one of the Derry players started doing a bit of triumphalism to his opponent. The referee hopped the ball. Galway went back up the field and got a score forward. And it's a good thing to teach the kids young that you can't do that. It's not acceptable.
Kevin, you've been very quick to point out tonight that this is the second year in a row that a Connacht team has won the All-Ireland minor football. So it's your hour of glory.
Crumbs. But no, I'm thrilled for Galway. It was a great win for them. Final didn't live up to the semi-final standards, but you can't take that away from Galway. And said yes, it's two in a row now. Roscommon won it last year, but if you look at it from the Galway point of view now, and they link that with their 221 All-Irelands and a new manager, Liam Salmon, just taking over now.
There's talent coming through.
The conveyor belt is working.
Right, lads, it's man of the match time for minors. Dara, contenders?
I suppose from the Derry point of view, Declan Bell bossed his corner all day. At midfield I thought James Keelt was outstanding, great vision and great scoring. Gavin McGeehan was a great target man. Anytime the ball came in he played really, really well. From the Galway point of view, Éanna Glynn, Conor Doherty, Damien O'Reilly did an inspirational block down there midway through the second half. Paul Conroy, Anthony Griffin, Michael Martin and Damien Reddington played well as well.
So, Tony, who did he choose as man of the match?
In the end, we chose Damien Reddington in the corner. He got the vital goal in the end. Great goal. Class goal, but as well as that, he got 2 fantastic points during the game as well, and he looks fairly lively inside in the corner. He's a guy you wouldn't like to be marking now. Here we can see him going in, beats his man out in front of the ball, turns, gets it onto his strong leg, and over the bar. Beautiful score.
He's had a good championship, Tony. He's been very good in the
And there was a lot of work in this goal.
Yeah, high ball in. Judges it very, very well. Turns onto his left leg and finishes it. He didn't have much of room there, but it was all over that stage. What was it, 58 minutes? It's a dream thing for any kid to ride her over stuff. 2 minutes to go in the All-Ireland final, and he finished it. But they deserved it. They were the better football team, Pat.
So, Damien Reddington it is. After the match, he spoke with Evan Killen.
Well, the Tom Markham Cup is going back to Galway tonight, and up until quite near the end of this match, the RTE ESB Man of the Match Award could have been going either way, but then up stepped Damien Reddington. Damien, congratulations. Pádraig McManus is here to present you with your award.
Congratulations, Damien. Well done. Well done.
Damien, well done. Tell me, what does it feel like? How does it feel like to score a goal of that calibre and that significance in Croke Park of all places?
It's unbelievable. Like, just to be here on the occasion, like, it's been 21 years since Galway won a minor All-Ireland. Like, it's just brilliant. Like.
Your manager said to Marty Morrissey after the match that you really grew as players and as individuals, but you grew from boys into men, but you mustn't feel much bigger than this ever again.
No, definitely not. Like, through the year, we've been so hard trying. So this is our 104th time meeting, so it's just unbelievable.
Right then, high time we headed back to the Kerry team festivities to see if everybody is behaving themselves. Once again, here's Michael.
But I can assure you that they are behaving themselves here at the City West Hotel. Well, joining me right now is one of the Kerry forwards, one of the stars of their win today, and a very important part of this success in the last couple of years. That's Paul Galvin. Paul, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Paul, I suppose you are a teacher. You taught for a couple of years in Cork, so obviously you knew very well what it meant to the Cork people and how passionate they are about their football if they could have won this today.
Yeah, I did. I spent between college and work, I spent 7 or 8 years in Cork.
Yeah.
And the school I was in was a big football school, so yeah, they take their football serious, and obviously they had their start set out to win today, and it would have been a big boost for them. And but I mean, we had our own ideas.
Well, there was no doubt about that, Paul. I mean, the passion that came into it today. Derek Kinnaid talked about it there back in the analysis a little bit earlier on. That obviously it meant a lot to you guys to win this championship this year, apart from beating Cork today.
Yeah, it did. I think we had one going back to back, and we felt that we had a team good enough to be reckoned with the best. And we were unlucky in 2005. We made a great Tyrone team who beat us deservedly. We got another crack at it. Luckily enough for us, we got another crack this year, and I was quite confident during the week, because I felt that if we were to win it, we were on the verge of something great, and I just felt it was there anyway. I looked around at the guys I was playing with, and I felt that I felt very, very secure and very confident in the guys that were with me, and I thought that the greatness is either there or it's not. Sure, and I could see it in the boys anyway. So that's why I was quite confident.
But what makes this bunch of lads different? Because I mean, I've seen counties come along, they've won an All-Ireland or two, it's been a fantastic achievement for them, but they just can't keep up that level of intensity and interest. But you lads have managed to do that again this year.
Yeah, we have, and I think it's hard to put your finger on what makes these things happen. But I think a lot of it's tradition, I
was going to say, beating Kerry helps for a start.
Yeah, beating Kerry without a doubt helps, and tradition had a huge part to play in it. I felt that for the last couple of years, the last maybe 5 or 6 years, back-to-back was spoken about, I never felt a team could, other than a non-traditional county, could do it anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't feel that the non-traditional sides would be able to do it. I always felt it would be a Kerry or a Dublin or one of the more traditional counties,
Sometimes I suppose, Paul, we forget what it means to lads like yourselves, the team, but also to the supporters. I mean, here tonight, outside the window here, your fans are outside, they're cheering in at you, they're waving at you, they can see you on the television, they're saying, come on, Paul, wave at us.
Yeah. I think definitely I felt during the week that everything that Kerry football stood for was riding on today in my eyes. I really did 100 years of being the most successful county in football would have been gone down the pan really had we lost, because especially with the Cork Kerry thing. And it was very important for the supporters, for sure, yeah. And we felt that. We were aware of that. We didn't feel any great pressure because of it, but we were definitely aware of it.
Sure. Paul, congratulations to you and to the lads once again. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Stay there for a moment. We're staying here at City West because right now there is another pleasant piece of business to be done here at the Winners' Banquet. And on that note, let me hand you over to Joanne Cantwell, who is also here with us tonight.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you as well. Well, it's that time of night when the All-Ireland champions get lavished with even more prizes, and I get a good slagging from the Kerry crowd as well, because Toyota Ireland, the official car to the GAA, are going to present yet another Toyota Auris to the All-Ireland champions. That'll go straight into the Players' Fund, and Cork, today's runners-up, of course, they'll also get a Toyota Auris for their Players' Fund. And here to present the keys of that car is Jim Cusack, the Deputy Managing Director of Toyota Ireland, and he'll be giving the keys of the car to Sean Walsh, the Kerry County Chairman. And also, of course, a man who won his 5th Senior All-Ireland Winners Medal is Dara O'Shea. Dara, congratulations, first of all. Win number 5. Do they still feel that bit special?
They do, yeah. It's a huge honour, and I'm lucky to be from Kerry, I'd say. You don't get these opportunities very often, and the fact that you're from Kerry, you get to play in All-Irelands. But we've a superb panel, we've a superb group of lads, and lucky to be here again today.
Well, you've got 5, as we said. Do you still remember the first?
I do, just about, yeah. I do, yeah. 10 or 11 years ago now, but it's very fresh in the memory, yeah.
What do you remember about it?
I remember the first year too, and the rest of it's a blur.
Okay, I put you on the spot once already, so I'm going to have to do it again. Are we going to see Dara O'Shea in the green and gold of Kerry again next year?
I don't know. Have you got a people carrier? Because if I go, like, the lads will need a people carrier, because I'm carrying these fellas on my back for it. I'm only joking.
I hope you all remember that as the night goes on.
I'm only joking.
You haven't actually given us an answer.
I'm enjoying it. I'm going to enjoy it tonight in the next couple of days, and we've had a great time, so we won't make any decisions. We won't make any decisions tonight anyway.
Okay, well, you've given us many memories over the years, and of course, got a couple of brothers on the team. They're not bad footballers either. Have there been many scraps along the years?
No. If I was younger, no, I'd be brave enough. No, but no, the lads had a great year. Very keen and very eager, like, and it's I suppose it's testament to the panel again. Like, I keep going back to the panel, and it's a cliche, but like the group of lads that are coming through, and young fellas are coming through at the moment in Kerry, like, and very keen and very. I don't know, it's a lot of the lads, younger lads, and it's great to see it, but a lot of the lads are very proud and very honoured to be wearing the Kerry jersey, and as I am, and we're just lucky to be from Kerry, and long they may continue.
But we heard Pat say earlier in his analysis that all during the week we were hearing about how Kerry were going to be outplayed and outmuscled at midfield today. Did that give you great motivation going into this game?
It didn't, no. I think Seamus Scanlon will take a lot of the credit for that. But no, I think the half-back line and the half-forward line were particularly good today. I think they just horsed them through everything, and they just, any breaking ball that was going, they were on it. And they set the platform for everybody else, and I think they were outstanding. And I think, it made it easier for the rest of the guys, just to finish off the game as well as we did,
Well, Dara, well done today, and we do, I think, all here hope that we see you back in the Kerry colours next year. Thanks, Dara. Now, that's it for the time being, but do stay with us, because not only will we be back at the City West Hotel, at the Winners Hotel, but Pat Spillane and his panellists, well, they'll be back as well, and they'll be picking their team of the year. And Tony Davis assures me that there were plenty of fights ahead of that one as well. Do make sure you stay with us for that, and also the panelists will be picking their highlights of the year. I'm going to get out of here fast. We go to quick break.
Relive the highlights of today's GAA action in 70 minutes, every Monday only in The Star, your GAA newspaper.
The pressure's on to get Prison Break Season 3 to RTE2 ahead of any other channel.
Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games.
So hot on the heels of the US, the dust won't have time to settle. Prison Break Season 3 starts Thursday at 9:30. See it first on RTE2.
Listen, girls, bad news. My folks had to cancel the holiday.
What? You mean the 2-week free half is gone?
Yeah.
Don't worry. As long as you've got the Eurosaver menu, everything's gonna be okay.
What can I say now? My words are not
Twisty fries?
enough.
What prepares a top athlete for the moment of truth?
Lucozade Sport helps maximize fluid absorption while delivering fuel to the working muscles, improving top athletes' endurance. Lucozade Sport, proven when tested.
The Listowel Harvest Racing Festival runs from Monday the 17th to Sunday the 23rd of September. Horse racing, let yourself go!
From the guys who brought you the 40-year-old Virgin comes an instant comedy classic.
Whoa!
Nice! Super bad.
Yo, yo. All right. Come on. Yo, yo.
Opel Corsa. What car's car of the year?
There'll be no boats off the island today.
What can we do?
Would you? To me? The kegel?
Miss.
Is that all you French fellas think about?
Teaser must gone. Ye look hungry. Did you miss the boat?
John is withdrawing your money from his account. Insurance fraud is a crime that you pay for in your premium. Report suspect claims. Don't let them take their holiday at your expense. Insurance fraud is a crime. No exaggeration.
I do the prison, I shuffle to my baby's house. I stick my key into the door, I'm like a Labrador mouse. To the prison, I shuffle to my baby's house. No need to tussle, no need to fussle. I do the crescent high. I got a gal that lives real close, you know. I got a gal that lives real close, and that's the best thing in the world's like French toast. So once you get a slice, it's nicer than the whole loaf. No need to tussle, no need to fussle. I do the crescent high.
Do you know what causes your heartburn?
Eating.
Or drinking? Definitely drinking.
Stress. When I'm up to my eyes.
Morning after a few scoops.
Oh, and a kebab.
I don't know. Maybe acid?
Acid. That's what causes your heartburn. So, Rennie works fast to help neutralize excess stomach acid. Rennie. Fast, effective relief from indigestion and heartburn.
For action-packed highlights of today's 70 Minutes, there's 70 Minutes every Monday only in The Star, your GAA newspaper.
You're very welcome back. Now we're getting close to decision time for the three wise men with me here in studio. Very shortly, it's their choices for Team of the Year. But first, we want to see the lads' personal highlights from the football summer of 2007. Here's a little reminder of some of the moments we have all enjoyed.
Comes down towards the right half forward, a chance beautifully tucked away by John Miskela. Ball is aimed at Donaghy once more. Got it down, chance of a goal! In first Kevin McMahon, getting inside the cover, gets inside Creeving King, does a slight deflection! Kevin Young again, just a stand iron in there, goal! What a fantastic goal! And Kerry will play Cork in the All-Ireland final on the 16th of September.
And we're ready for the start. Listen to the roar. Scanlon, back in, the goalkeeper comes, he misses, and it's in the back of the net, and he's creating havoc here, and he's got an open goal! Oh, what a gift! Here's another chance, and another one for Donaghy! Kerry retain Sam Maguire. 2 in a row for Kerry, the champions once again.
Right lads, the 2007 season has been done and dusted. Colm O'Rourke said today, not a great season.
You know, I suppose it was an ordinary season, illuminated by a few moments of magic from different players. Bit of romance in it, I suppose, with the emergence of Monaghan and Sligo. You know, I suppose you could say Armagh, a team in transition, you know, another one of the standard bearers of recent years, Tyrone, you know, suffered hugely with injuries. You know, it's a terrible shame not to have Brian McGuigan, for example, for just one example, playing the championship. The Ulster Star is not burning as brightly as it has been maybe in the last couple of years. Dublin brought huge drama, huge theatre to it as usual, you know, and obviously the crowds as well. It was an all-Munster final. It'll be interesting now next year if you know, the rising tide of Munster football can lift the other 4 counties there as well. Overall, you know, I'm sure the boys in the City West won't like to hear me say that, but you know, it was an ordinary season, I suppose.
An ordinary season?
I would say all the games I went to, I enjoyed it. I know this year's season is defined by hurling, and this has been a great season for hurling. But there isn't a game I left this year except today that I felt in some way that it was entertaining. It was a good game. It was entertaining. I love going to games and seeing young guys like Michael Tierney coming through, your Kieran Ling with Wexford, you have young Killian Young coming through there with Kerry. These are all fine young footballers, and it's great to see young guys coming through that will be there for the next 10 years maybe and giving their service. But I enjoyed this year's championship. I thought the provincial finals were quite good, except for maybe the Leinster one. The rest of them were very exciting. There were some great finishes, and there was some fantastic goals in the championship.
Kevin?
Yeah, I couldn't agree with Colm that it was an ordinary season. You know, Tony just made the point about the provincial series. Leinster was the only dead duck, really. Dublin won that hands down. The other 3 provinces were extremely competitive. 3 of the All-Ireland quarter-finals were excellent. Absolutely
Hardly
excellent.
called Munster competitive, would it?
The Munster final was extremely competitive.
But outside of that?
I know, well, we're talking about the finals.
Oh, fair enough.
The quarter-finals, excellent. Just to take out Sligo and Meath, the other 3 went down to the wire in nearly every instance. The Dublin-Kerry semi-final, superb match. So, I mean, that's a lot of games.
An interesting text from Declan in County Laois. He says, the system is not working. The 2 best teams are not getting to the final.
No, that's and it's wrong, because the qualifier will do one thing. It nearly always will get the 2 best teams back into the final. Also, I should make the point that we're in the review this season, the refereeing this year has been very good. Definitely has upped the ante big time from the last few seasons. But the work to do.
Square balls.
Yeah, that's true. And also just make a point that in both codes, hurling and football, a few players played in finals this year. They shouldn't have. So there's work to do in that area as well.
Okay, that brings us to the highlights, and we've asked each of you to pick out your highlight from the year. Kevin?
Well, I went for the local sheriff as usual, and it's something that I think we'll see a bit more of, because I think the provincial series, the big ones aren't taking it as serious as they used to once upon a time. So I went for Sligo actually, and their breakthrough this year was it's a fantastic achievement, and they did it the hard way. They almost lost to Roscommon in the semi. They get through here. Well, it's certainly a contender. Tui from Laois will have something to say about it. But that's a great goal. And then they lose them to injury, Pat, and they're playing against the elements in the second half. Their free taken went fierce pear-shaped, and it all looked dead and done for them. But bit by bit, they hung in. There's Eamon leaving now, and you really think it's gone. Sligo just can't hold on. And minute by minute, I was doing the commentary with Dara Maloney on this, and minute by minute, there's McNamara's winning point. The sideline at this stage, there must have been 200 people on the sideline, and there's the invasion. And for a Connacht man like myself, to see Sligo at it, I think I said at the time, I was at their 1975 winning final, and to see them 32 years later was a fantastic achievement.
Tony, your highlight?
Funny enough, one of the most emotional times was Sligo actually winning the championship. But for me this year, I think Monaghan were one of the teams of the championship. You know, I thought the way they played up in Ulster, the way they played through the qualifiers.
Could have beaten Kerry?
Could have beaten Kerry, and maybe it was their chance, you know. But I don't think Monaghan have got the credit this year that they deserve. I thought all through the championship they were fantastic. They have an excellent manager who's not afraid to change things around and do it the way he thinks he can do it. There's some beautiful forwards. Tommy Freeman in corner forward is fantastic footballer, one of the best footballers around. So you know what, they illuminated the championship all year, and for a team that has been out of the limelight for so long, I think 1988 was the last time they got to an All-Ireland semi-final, and I think we played them that day and beat them well. But this team is emerging. They'll be hard to beat, and I think they'll be stronger because they're improving year on year.
You think they can come back?
Oh, definitely. I think they will. And I know Ulster's going through transition. You know, if you look at Ulster Armagh, changing around Tyrone without Peter Canavan, were never the same.
They nearly won Ulster, and they nearly beat Kerry.
Absolutely.
I mean, those were 2 performances.
Darry, your highlight?
But I suppose apart from the sustained brilliance of Kerry over the year, like the obvious...
Nicely put in there, quite slipped in.
The big one for me would have been the re-emergence of Meath as a force in Leinster. I think Leinster Championship and Leinster football needed Meath to come back. I think if we're being honest, we missed Meath since 2001. They were in the shadows for too long. I think they came back this year and had a few great battles with Dublin. Lit up the championship early in the season, when people don't tend to tune in that much to it. And I suppose you could say, the older players, the Graham Geraghty's, the Anthony Miles, the Darren Fay, were absolutely brilliant. But they showed a few new touches, new lads as well, with Kevin King there emerging as a leader at the back, and you have Stephen Bray.